How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Hope you guys had a great holiday season. I was pretty good, but it's over now. I sent out an email 30 minutes ago, and that was part of it. It's just like I'm super grateful for the kind of time to kind of reflect and everything like that. And I'm going to continue to reflect because I'm a relatively introspective person throughout the year. But it's time to work. We got to get down to business. So we got a great topic here for you guys today. Yeah, let me know where you guys are at. Say hello in the chat, all that stuff. Let's see here. Derek, what's up? What's up? What's up? Rob, thank you very much. Second member of the channel. Thank you, Rob Moore. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Happy New Year to you guys. Thank you guys again so much for being here. Hell yeah, Rob. I appreciate you. Yeah, click that join button down below. Appreciate it. Thank you guys. Um, okay, so here's my quick plan as you guys as everybody gets settled in here. So you guys see Derek in the chat. Derek hit me up. Watch some of the what's it called, the wpdynamicdata.co videos and everything like that. Hit me up. He's building a new website for himself. Derek, you let me know if you want me to actually show any of that, like the actual page that you sent over. If not, we don't have to show that. But the concept here, as you guys can tell by the thumbnail and the title and everything, is how to build like a portfolio website, how I would build it, just give you some tips. And we're not, obviously I am not gifted enough to build this in a 3 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour live stream. Okay. I'm not Kevin Geary. I can't like build it perfectly like that, right? He's a monster. Okay. I'm not. But what I can do for you guys is I can give you my perspective and give you a lot of different pieces, specifically from the dynamic place. And I have a laundry list of ideas for you as well that we could try to like implement. So I think it'll be great. It's going to be a good time. Going to be kind of like just going through and thinking about it. And I think I'm going to give you the context from my perspective too. So I've had an agency since 2018. It's called FindIT Tech. I built that website initially with like Elementor, and actually I think it was even with like Astra at first, and it was some sort of like starter site, and then I moved to Elementor and I built like a slightly better site, and then I think I changed it even like one more time before I moved to Bricks. And I was building the site in Bricks, and I'm still doing that or whatever. But right now, if you go to finditech.com, it's just kind of like really 2 pages because, like, honestly, I haven't given it a ton of thought. I have clients there, but my mindset has changed a lot, right? So I think the point of me saying all that is, even with my personal site right now, every couple of like, honestly, it seems like 6 to 12 months, I think of like new ideas and new ways and new things to build into these websites. And I think specifically for what a lot of us do here with, in whatever capacity you do it, whether it's freelance to like multi-member agency and all that sort of stuff, right? Multi-team member, you are you need to sell people on these websites. Like you need to have a website effectively, and your website needs to look good and function good and everything like that because you're selling websites. That's always a really interesting thing. I don't know if like you guys ever think about it like that. It's like, would you buy a website from somebody whose website sucked? Or not, again, like sucked is kind of subjective, but just like either didn't work or like looked really weird or whatever, or wasn't like, I don't know, just that sort of thing. So I just think about that stuff all the time. And in this case here, there are some really good things that we could talk about, again, idea-wise and actual like, implementation-wise of what you could build, whether you're a freelancer or whether you're an agency owner, anywhere in between. I think that you could, there's a lot of really interesting things here that I've implemented on past sites, past iterations of mine, and then I'm also working on now in the new one. And the last thing I'll say here is that selfishly, I'm going to use this as a kind of like a think tank time as well, because I want to get your guys' thoughts, because this is a super big topic that we could make a whole stream on, and if you guys have thoughts, let me know, and we'll run through them. But I am slightly bearish on the idea of like, let me ask the question, and then we'll go from there. Like, how many of you guys are starting a web design business right now? And how many, if you already have one, like, would you start one right now if you weren't already in this space? And like, what are you thinking? The reason that I asked that question is because you've probably seen some of my content on like AI, and maybe in a lot of Brendan O'Connell's content on like automation and stuff. And we talk about that shit all the time. And we're like thinking, websites are awesome. We don't think websites are going anywhere. We don't think WordPress is going anywhere, but we're always like looking ahead into what's coming because I actually feel like that's kind of part of our job as content creators to a certain degree. And like I truly believe that websites just like selling like simple websites and stuff like that is not going away, but I don't think that's the meta for like moving forward and like scaling because it's already had its like extreme time in the sun. And I think that more and more people are going to realize that it's kind of easier to do that and it's becoming less expensive to do that. And I think those next big things, I'm not trying to be like an AI fanboy type thing. I'm just literally saying like leveraging those types of tools, I think is going to be a lot bigger here in the next 5, 10, 15 years. And that's, again, my perspective as somebody who's getting in, like ramping up my professional career. Again, all of us are in different places. That's the way that I'm thinking about this. So I say all that to say that I'm actually considering like using this as more of an idea of like how can I use these ideas to of what I've known, what I've done to kind of like pivot into more of not just web design, but more so like automation. Like I think the idea of creating an automation agency as a service is really cool. I've talked about it with several people. There's a lot of really good people on YouTube that are already doing it. Like that type of thing, I think is kind of potentially where I might try to dabble in that area as well. So yeah, but it's all service based. I mean, most of it, or it's like productized service. Yeah, so just a lot of different ideas, but we shall see. We shall see. Are we good? Good. Let me see. Just should have done a little audio video check, but I think we're good. Okay, let's see. Toby, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Okay, Derek, you want me to show your site? Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate you, Rob. I need the motivation. Thank you. Lex, what's up, man? Thank you so much. Nomad, what's up? Love that. I wish this damn thing would elevate the actual emojis. It doesn't elevate the custom ones. I need to talk to Restream about that. David asks, what's up? Nice. Okay. Unless your leads are coming through the website, clients do not look at your website. I have my website off for 2 years now. Yeah, I mean, that's another good point there is like, I don't know. So, obviously, we're the experts and we're always looking at the website. So that's actually an interesting point there is sometimes does your website need to be as perfect as you think it does? Probably not because probably experts, like the people that are looking at it are probably competitors, like less than your clients, so to speak. So that's a really good point. But yeah, so last thing about the new year and everything like that, wish you guys the best in 2025. I'm going to continue doing these, so let's just dive right into it and keep working. I talked about my little automation agency here that I'm thinking about, and cool. Yeah, I think we're pretty good. So let's just dive in here, shall we? I got a couple things that I want to share, and I think we can kind of start off here. And I'll give you just quick background context. So Derek Short in the chat hit me up. He's redoing his website. And again, if you guys ever want to hit me up or whatever, the YouTube, the email is in like the YouTube about page, or just hit me up on social or whatever. If you just go to mjs.bio, you'll find a way to reach me. But Derek is redoing his website and he's in the process of it. And he sent me over this, and this has changed since I got it actually initially. But this is a really good example of something that you're definitely going to need in a portfolio website, right? Just like a simple place to show off your work. I really like the idea of like being able to select industry platform or like type of website and stuff like that. And we can kind of just go through kind of how building this. I think at first Derek was having some trouble with it, but I think now it's kind of working for the most part here. So yeah, like just like this is bricks. These are bricks like facets or the filters and everything like that. We have custom post types down here. I think there was Derek shot me over another email this morning, and I kind of want to read this now, and then I'll go back and I'll talk about some of the things that I think we should kind of like think about and you should consider if you're building a website like this. So real quick, I created pages for my website portfolio pieces. I finally tuned the first page with frames, then frame sections, then duplicated the page for each portfolio piece. I created custom post types and ACF for each query loop card on my website design portfolio page. Each CPT has a page link field to each page. Is that a bad method? Did I necessarily do double the work? Without looking, I think each CPT has an edit with breaks option. Currently have 20 pages / CPTs. Maybe it's just no index. Okay, so this is a really important piece. And Derek, if I get this interpretation of what you did here wrong, then please let me know. because I know this is like a test site right now. So, but my point is like I want to start right here, right off the bat, because this is probably the thing that like I'm probably the like out of the scope of this stuff. Like I'm not really designing. Like this is probably the thing that I understand the most for whatever reason. I don't know how my brain works, but like the dynamic data piece of this, if I'm understanding this correctly, and actually let's go back to this URL for a second. So it's kind of like full URL, right? Slash WordPress hyphen test slash website dash design dash portfolio. So I think this is a page. I think we're staring at a page. This is where like the terms really get kind of confusing, and we should try to be kind of. I'm not perfect at this, but we should always try to be like a page is a page, an archive is an archive, a single is a single. What I would do here and what we'll do here in a second is this to me would be an archive. It doesn't have to be, but in a lot of times I kind of just like it to be an archive because then you're just limiting the amount of shit that you have everywhere and the amount of like do not repeat yourself stuff that you're maintaining. So this is probably a page, I think, and then this has like a loop on it, which again works, right? And then if we go into like a specific one of them, now I think I see website portfolio. I'm wondering on the back end what this looks like, but specifically, if what I'm understanding was correct, like we should not be duplicating pages. Like as soon as I hear like duplicating in any stretch, that's generally not ideal. It obviously depends, but if we're duplicating like sections, pages, and things like that, that's generally a sign. It's like do not repeat yourself. Duplicate. It's kind of like you know, just maybe we need to like think about it. So um, I think what we should do is we should just kind of run through like, kind of an example of how we could do this with archive singles, archive templates, single templates, things like that, which again, templates are not the greatest. I mean, in this case, they kind of work, but obviously we have bricks components now and things like that. We may be able to even do some interesting things there. I mean, like these cards should probably be, components. So, yeah, let's see if we can do it. Real quick on the comments. I'm working with my day job while trying to launch an agency with a partner. Hey, Julia, she's here today. Nice. And we don't have enough hours in the day to need everything. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. There's, I kind of did the same thing. I was like working 9 to 5 and then would do the stuff at the end. And then, I mean, it's fun because you're motivated to do it, but yeah, it's not, it's tough. It's tough. So I totally empathize with that. I think people looking at your website to hire you really depends on the level of the client. Examples, not in a rush to hire, big budget. They just want neat proposals. Yeah, I mean, definitely going to depend. I mean, that's a whole other conversation of itself. I just did a video on like how to vet clients on my channel, so would highly recommend you guys watch that if you haven't. But yeah, just trying to understand like who you want to target too, because it could be different. You could want higher level ticket clients. You could want more like just like one-off, kind of like quick things. Like honestly, guys, I'll tell you this real quick. I want to do big projects. I want to do like e-commerce. I want to do expensive stuff, and that is absolutely where I'm shooting for. But at the same time, it's like you have to have your channels for getting those leads has to be really good. The clients are generally like better because they have money and they're willing to work with you, but not always. But the other model is just volume, like low priced websites at volume. There's a lot of people making that work. And my next question is like, again, what I was talking about earlier, like where does that go in the future? But while it's here, it's an option. The more important thing is your proposal, as it usually includes all the most relevant information to your client. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, definitely important to make sure that your scope is on point for sure. Okay, so Derek said it was a page, perfect. The good news is that this whole section is template exportable, so I could just import it into the CPTs. Awesome. Appreciate the comment on the client vetting there, Derek. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's actually dive in and just play around with some of this stuff. Okay, so I've kind of just it's a pretty simple thing. I just deleted a bunch of stuff off my one test site that I have here. Here's kind of how I would do this. Also, I want to kind of show you guys some of the things that I would normally do. I don't know if we should do this necessarily like directly in order like this, or what's the best way for me to show. Let me see if I can do this here real quick. I just want to show you my list, but it's open in a different window. So let me go to right here. Yeah, it should work. Yeah, Perfect. Okay, I'll just show you my notes here real quick. So this is just over in Notion. Um, so this is just kind of like general like thoughts that I had the other day. That again, some things that I've like utilized before, some things that I want to try in the future, and everything like that. And this is just completely off the top of my dome. So we'll run through this list real quick, and then we'll come into some of these things, and we can whatever ones are you're most interested in. We could also try to go through those because, like, I mean, again, like I'm just building this for fun. I wanted to rebuild my agency site or build a new agency site, but I was like, no, I'm not doing that right now. So again, portfolio website. The first thing that I want to definitely do here is like an options page for business details. I think every single website you ever build should have an options page. If you're not familiar with an options page, wpdynamicdata.co, but we'll talk about it here too because it's very straightforward. Some level of dynamic personalization. I've done this to a degree, but there is this new-ish concept. It's not really like new, the entire thing, but there's a newer thing that especially bigger agencies do, like that are more marketing focused, maybe on bigger websites too, where imagine that your customer comes to the website and they get like a unique experience based off of who they are or where they came from. It's like why the fuck wouldn't I have done that? Like that's so genius to do something like that. Um, I mean, we have this capability, I'm sure, in like bricks and everything. I can't think of an exact example on how to create that right now, but just think of it as like a dynamically personalized website, whether that's it's kind of like the simplest example is like, you know, how like with frames or anything, like you can have light or dark mode based on your system. That's like stupid simplistic compared to what you could do if it's like, oh, if somebody is coming from like Facebook, like the refer, like, you know somehow they came from Facebook, then maybe like change something on the website, whether it's verbiage or pictures or something like that. um, like literally the pages have the same type of content, they're trying to do the same thing, but it's like you're sending them dynamically to a different landing page, like a different layout or a different vibe or whatever, based off of who they are or where they came from. And it's not a situation where it's like where it's like manual, where you have 5 ads and like there's 5 different URLs. You know what I mean? Like it's like the layout and the personalization on that particular slug, that particular URL is different depending on that. It's just so really cool stuff that I have not played with enough, but I mean, I see the huge power in it. So that's one thing. Next thing here we got is project and case study. So that's kind of what we're talking about there to a degree. The filtering feature. Focus on problems and results when you're doing that. Focus on like actually saying like what the problem was and like what the result that you got from that. Like not just showing off the website and showing off whatever. There's actually a ton of examples too. I might be able to dig them up of like other really good websites that I've seen like do like pieces of this stuff, and I've kind of like just mashed it together in my head to get us to something like this. This is a really big one. Testimonials throughout the website, not just on one page. You can have a testimonials page, but make sure that you're putting testimonials throughout the website. Like when they're looking at website management on that page, you might think maybe just have like a bunch of stuff about website management, but it literally throughout the page in places, make sure you have a testimonial from like, John Doe that says, hey, website management through so-and-so is like is the best thing ever. That type of thing. I think is really, really powerful. And then third-party platform reviews, if you have them, if they're applicable. It's nice to show that like people are reviewing you on Clutch. They are reviewing you on Google reviews. I think that's a really important thing. Contact and lead flow. That was the recent video that I was talking about with the lead vetting. Something like that where you're maybe not giving people access to your calendar directly, but you're getting that lead flow and then you're doing that. Services, we could talk about pricing for days. You have to decide on what your pricing model is. If you're going to like do like like tiered website design like that, or like if you're gonna have like custom paid plans or whatever, or like everything is custom quoted, and then also pricing for your website management if you're doing that. There's just a lot of different considerations. Okay, policies, pretty standard. I mean, I would say like Termageddon, and make sure you use a CPT for your policies just so it's very easy. FAQs, this is a big one for me, honestly, because I don't think enough people kind of like necessarily do like this, and there's like a lot of power that down the line. But like FAQs for like put all of your FAQs into a custom post type, and maybe you're not going to have like an archive for FAQ. Maybe you would, but you don't have to. but then you can manage everything in the back end like that, and then you can relate them either with a relationship or a taxonomy to your services, so to speak, or whatever. So it's like you can show, you can have a big list of FAQs, like 20 of them, and you can show the relevant FAQs on the pages and in the areas of the website that they are needed, so to speak, right? The idea is maybe there's certain FAQs that are going to be in multiple places. If you have one singular FAQ that is in multiple places, this approach is worth it, because then you have like what's a good example, like what's your timeline or something like that, right? And or something, generally how long does it take to build a website, and you want to put that on multiple pages. Then you want to have that one single source of truth, which is the actual CPT, like the actual post, the FAQ, like in the CMS, to do that. So we can talk about some of that. This is an interesting one that I think you guys should all do, is like planned features, and then also like integrations and features related to your projects. Now, some people aren't going to give a shit about this. Obviously, like we were talking about earlier, like some clients aren't going to care. But if somebody uses like HubSpot, okay, and they do come to your website, or you find out that they use HubSpot or something like that, right? Then you can show them case studies that are based off of things that you've already built, like that are relevant to them. So if they use HubSpot and they use like Vimeo or some shit, right? You can have like an integrations CPT, and you can, I mean, you don't even have to have a full CPT, but I like kind of the separation because then it gives you more options and stuff. But you could have like a full CPT that's called integrations. You could have like 100 integrations in there or whatever, or features, or both, like whatever. And you can have that in a, like you can put that into your projects page and have a section in there where it's like, okay, in this project we integrated all these different tools. And then if they see that, or you send that to them, or you know that, then you're like, okay, hey, this is a project that we did that is kind of similar to yours in that regard. You use HubSpot, XYZ, whatever, we can definitely integrate that. Here's how we did this for them. Just to kind of give, again, I think a lot of times we build all this shit, we do all this stuff, we integrate all these things, and we don't like document it enough. We don't, like what we're doing to a lot of people still. I know I said all that stuff before about like it's kind of moving towards, like more slightly commoditized to some people's minds. But in a lot of stuff, what we do here still is still like magic, so to speak. And if we're magicians, right, then like to some people, then we need to like make sure that they do understand that we actually are capable. Because to some people, will be like, oh, you can integrate with that stuff. I didn't even realize. This is where the automation side of things like really starts skimming, because like the stuff you can do with automation is ridiculous. And it's just, it literally is. It does seem like magic. So that's just my point in there. But yeah, some other random things, like I think you should always have your process written down, even if it's simple. You should have some level of your process written down. Live chat, I'm not like totally sold on, but something like Video Ask, which is a platform, I think that is a nice thing where like you just have like a little video, either like in the corner of the screen or something where you're like quickly, like they can quickly like see like a little bit more about you or whatever, or they can actually ask directly. That Video Ask platform does seem like it does a really good job there, but you could build something similar if you wanted to. Some way for them to get in a hold of you. I mean, at least a contact form. It could be more dynamic if you want to and interactive. We talked about the calendar booking system, brand assets. I really like the idea of just having a place where your logo and shit is at, because there's so many times where I have to give people logos or spelling or different like types of things like that, or colors, and it's really nice to just send them to a page rather than send them random files or send them like a Google Drive link. It's just just make it, download it, boom. Freebie and a lead magnet. This is like, I mean, we didn't talk about blog or anything like that. It's that's an idea, but some level of something where they can sign up and you're not even really creating a newsletter, I think, in most cases for this. You're just creating a situation where like you get information and they get something for free. And the something that they get for free is something that you created once and now you're giving away for free to a bunch of people. I think that that's a good thing to do. It would really depend on who your audience is if you want that to be the case, like what you want to make that or whatever. But I think that's a really good one. And then comparison table to other options is actually like another really good one. I saw this recently. I can't remember where I saw it though. It was like, was it on? No, I think it was like an automation something or something other. But it was like a comparison table between, maybe if you always build with WordPress websites, you could say like WordPress versus the other things and just like a quick little lowdown there. Or if you want to get like really like markety, then you could compare your service. I'm literally just talking about like a table, right? And it's like, us versus agency, like the typical agency versus the typical freelancer or something, and then you could have like categories in there like cost, turnaround time, communication, like all those types of things, and like all of yours would be like highlighted. You would think, or like one of those things where it's like check marks and X's or whatever, and all of yours would be checked, and like sporadically the other ones wouldn't be. I don't know, just random stuff that I'm trying to kind of find and report on to you guys. This is the last thing I'll say. Understand what's proper versus what the client likes versus what's accessible. We talked about this a little earlier. The clients generally like, I think they care a little bit about like what you do. Like they'll at least like maybe pull up your website if it's accessible to them, or if you send it to them. I think they'll look at it, but they won't. Again, they won't have a web designer's eye or whatever stuff like that. So this is where like for me, I'm kind of in the middle where like I want to have best practices as much as possible. I definitely don't want to get sued, so make sure everything is like accessible and everything like that. But this is where like you have to kind of make a decision, and this is literally just business. Like what's perfectly proper, semantically proper, everything is the best, like the best practice, everything like that, versus what the client likes versus what's accessible. And I don't have an actual answer for this, but what I would say is like always lean towards like what's proper and what you believe is the best, because going back to that video, you are the expert and you are the leader of this thing. You've been doing this longer than they have. You understand it longer. You should be the expert, and what you should say should kind of be like the final go. But at the end of the day, if the client asks for something that's not absolutely ridiculous, you just don't agree with it, you should still try to make them like somewhat like happy. But obviously that mileage may vary. Like it depends on what they're actually asking for. And I would always say, if it's something that, if it's something that's like really just like subjective and preferential, then it's like, okay, maybe like let them, obviously it's their website at the end of the day. They're hiring you to kind of really just understand, though, it depends on the expectations. If they're just hiring you to build the website and not like actually market it and make it better and everything like that, those are two different kind of conversations and engagements. But just understand this. Like that's pretty much what I'll say. I don't have a direct answer for you guys, but just understand that these are all different things. What's proper versus what the client likes versus what's accessible versus like, what you've been taught versus what you like to do. Like those are all different things. And I struggle to think of like one specific way to handle all of that. But just know that like when you're in the wild, like that's going to happen. Like you're gonna have clients tell you to do shit, and it's gonna be like, I really don't agree with that whatsoever. And then you're gonna have to tell them that you don't agree with that. And depending on how the type of person they are, it's like it's either gonna be like, oh, okay, I defer to you and I trust you, or no, we still really want to do this. And then maybe you tell them one more time. They're like, no, fucking do it. And then you're gonna be like, whatever, fine, like I'll do it. But just know that I told you not to do this because I don't believe it's the right way to go for your goals, but you wanted to do it, so that's fine. Just make sure that you're documenting that almost. Make sure that you're, again, managing those expectations and understanding that that they understand the ramifications of like, I don't know, putting a slider on the homepage or like making music play when people get to the website automatically, like shit like that. So, that those are the things that you should just understand, and you should default to being the leader. But sometimes clients are difficult, so I don't have perfect answers for you there, but that's what we got. Can we start with the archive thing? 100%. I've been the client too, and I do use the agency website and their portfolio to verify the recommendations they make as a proposal. The proposal is the proof of concept for some of the clients. Yeah, yep, like that. I want to talk more about proposals, because I didn't make that video that I just went over, didn't get to that point. I think it has some other stuff on that, but yeah, I mean, just again, long and short of it for me for proposals is I try to just say it all the time because I forget it and I screw myself often, is the proposal part is just, that is literally the document. Like that's the source of truth for that project. Just do yourself a favor and never, I'm just speaking to myself really, do yourself a favor and never deviate from the proposal without adjusting the price, because that is just a nightmare, and you lose money very fast. Yeah, for sure. If you do it properly, yep. FAQs dynamic data video last night. Appreciate that. Nice, sweet. Thank you, Derek. Steve, what's up, brother? Happy New Year. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Let's dive into this, shall we? Okay. All right. So we got all those ideas. Let's get those. I probably should have just left that up here. Let's just slide this over here. Okay. So here's how I would do this. The first thing, obviously, would do, and I'm not saying this is in a particular order, I guess, but let me just have my notes off to the side and we can kind of go through this. You guys tell me what you want to see in the order. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to have to do a custom post type. So I'm also going to kind of like go stream of consciousness on how I would do this. I'm also doing this in ACF, which I like ACF Pro. Obviously, it's the gold standard. Normally though, I'm more of a jet engine guy. I'm gonna be honest because I've been using it and I'm like slightly better with it. And I do think there's a lot of like really interesting things that you can do, especially with the query builder. It's neither here nor there. But we're gonna be doing an ACF Pro today because it's on the thumbnail and Derek was using it, and you know it is what it is. Maybe I'll do another one with jet engine though because it is. I really like it. Okay, so with custom post types here, the first one we should try is probably, I guess, just projects. Now, here's the thing. This is why this is hard, because you have to do so. If you actually want to do this well, you have to do a lot of pre-planning. And if you've watched any of my like client portal series, you know that I did like an hour plus of just a video on like not doing anything and just talking and just trying to like understand. So like what I mean is you could go here and you could say like projects, or you could call this websites. I wouldn't say websites because you don't know if you're always going to do websites. You don't know if like you're going to do something else that's not like a specific website. I wouldn't say website. You could go projects. The other thing you could do is you could say case studies, right? Because what we're creating here, this first custom post type, is going to be the thing that somebody would click on in the header, and it's either going to say like work, portfolio, projects, case studies, right? It's like you just have to think. You really should just look around the internet and just see like, what do I like the most? But ultimately, to me, right, if we're looking again, and we'll just use Derek's as an example here, this is a portfolio, right? And if we click on portfolio, right, this is what we're going to see. You could call it portfolio. This is subjective, but at the same time, like I like things to make sense for what I'm trying to do. So I can't tell you what you're trying to do, but I can tell you kind of like what makes sense per what you're trying to do. I think that this is a good one. Like it's a portfolio and everything like that. I would honestly though, I feel like I like projects. I like case studies. Like I really like case studies because then you could say case studies at the top. The problem with it being case studies is that a real case study is actually like a shit ton of stuff. And if you don't have a shit ton of stuff for every project, then now you're in this weird middle ground where like you're showing some that are just like, kind of this is what we did versus like the whole case study and everything like that. We don't need to go super deep into it. This is just kind of how I am. But I'll just call it projects just for now, because I think that there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. But I'm just trying to give you the idea of the way in which that I would process all of that. Yeah, we can zoom in. Is that better? It's probably better there. Committed to ACF Pro. The license is paid for. I'm glad you're using it here. Yeah, I haven't. I think I'm. Are you on the LTD? Yeah, I don't have the LTD, unfortunately. Called it website designs. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the only thing I would say there, Derek, specifically, is I try to not do multiple words if I can avoid it. Obviously, it's unavoidable sometimes. I like just single, so you can just like do a slash whatever. You'll see why I do that in a second. And there's ways around it, but it's just I just like it. And then website designs, to me, this is again, we're talking about this shit. Do clients care? I don't know, probably not. But to me, website designs is like, yeah, it's like a design, but like then you get into this weird semantic thing about like designs versus development, like all that sort of stuff or whatever. And then again, if you ever do anything other than just website design, like for instance, if you wanted to show off a project that you did that wasn't really specifically the design, but it was more of like the SEO that you did for a company, or was the, like if you delve into anything else, then at that point you're going to have like just like a weird semantic problem that's like probably not that big of a deal, but yeah. But yeah. So yeah. Cases, nice. Yeah. We could do cases for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of options here. Maybe Claude, throw it in Claude or ChatGPT and see what's best as well, because I'm going to probably be using that here in a bit. Okay, so I do projects, I do project, and then down here for the post type key, I normally do the plural. I'll show you why I do this. The reason I do plural, and I don't like that ACF defaults to single. I guess I understand why, and maybe it's more semantically correct in some ways. But this is going to be our actual like slug, so it's going to be like domain slash projects, and that's going to ultimately be our archive page by default. You can change these types of things, but if you don't have to, why would you want to? You know what I mean? So that's kind of the way that I think about it. Down here in advanced configuration, I pretty much always inherently turn off the editor. Regardless of what custom post type platform I'm doing. We need title, we need featured image most of the time. Honestly, don't even need custom fields. Well, is that custom? I'm not even sure if that's custom fields on ACF or like the WordPress ones. But regardless, I normally turn off the editor unless it's something that's going to have like a ton of information in it, or I'm going to build like a block in there or whatever. For this one, I don't see us needing an editor. Maybe, but honestly, generally, I don't. I just don't have it. Okay, now we have this. This is a really cool function, regenerate. Make sure you do that because I've had that happen before. I don't like how it, I know I put case studies in there before, but I don't like how it like had them in there. But whatever, that works. Visibility. We could change like the little thing here. I normally go, I think there's a portfolio one or something. That's fine. And then menu position. That's the other thing I like about Gen Engine is it puts all these things like in its own little area over here versus the way that ACF does it, but not super important. And okay, so the post type key. This is how you would change this real quick, just because it's an important thing. You can change it to a custom permalink or no like permalink, whatever. But by default, like I said, it's going to be this guy right here. Cool. And then archive. So we want to make sure that this is on. Has an archive that can be interesting. I've never actually checked that. I don't think. Is that? Yeah. I think we're good there. I don't think you need to do that, but we'll figure that out. Cool. All right. So now we have projects. We have a projects custom post type. It's all rejoice. It's over here. Cool. There's no projects yet. We'll add some in a second. No LTD for raw. I'm not that committed, but locked in for at least another 7 months on the sub. So tell me something else if it saves some time. I'll take a look. Yeah, I mean, marksmancy.co/crocoblock. I don't know. I mean, there's more videos on that. We could talk about that. Yeah, I mean, ACF Pro is great. I have the subscription too for I think the unlimited site. So it's definitely good. I have a few case studies, but they did not have a lot of content. I'm lazy. I did not want to develop them in the new site. Yeah, I gotcha. I also have these CPTs and ACF field groups, logo designs, business card designs. See, okay, this is a kind of a good example though, because if you're gonna do those other things, I would almost like go projects, and then I would, because those are super similar. This is where it's super subjective, and there's no real right answers to this shit. But like, it only comes with just like more time and maybe more videos and like more just like reps on this. In my mind, we talked about this I think 2 weeks ago or whatever when we were talking about the photocopier example and this like other ones that we've done. Is that the planning part is important for when you try to go to the next steps with some of these things. Again, this is why I say projects. I try to keep these like somewhat vague, so then I can go and like create like let me just actually do an example. Probably see like this is it's even too early. You almost have to have the whole thing scouted out. But let me just do an example here real quick. So like let's say we have projects, right? And let's use Derek's example here. So if we go to taxonomies now, I would say like, I would possibly say like, it doesn't matter what you name these, but like project, I'm terrible at naming taxonomies because like I always go to type and it's like that's like what I don't know. But like project type or something, or literally just project category. Let's just say project category, whatever. Or is there a better thing to say there? Like maybe like project area of work, design area. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. But like design area, project category. The point that I'm trying to make here is that we're creating a taxonomy, right? Just how Derek said. And like, so if we use projects as our custom post type for everything that we have in there, and then we have our project category as like the category of that type of project, then we could have three things in there. We could have website design, we could have logo design, we could have business card design, we could have whatever. And then now we've created this system where they're all projects, but they're different types of projects. You know what I mean? This doesn't always work. It doesn't always work because sometimes the fields that you're going to need are ridiculous. ACF does a really good job of like kind of like, being able to be flexible there. But that's my point is I think if you wanted to show that, there may be an area where you want to say like slash projects, and you might want to see like, those different types of projects. But again, this is why the planning phase is so underrated, and you should definitely be charging for this stuff when you're actually building these websites. How would you do the CPT if you were doing an animal wiki? That's a loaded question there. We might need a whole live stream on that. I mean, just at a high level, like an animal wiki. Are we talking like the whole thing, like kingdom, file, all that shit that I learned in third grade? If that's the case, I mean, honestly, I don't know. Just off the top of my head, without thinking about it, I would say like one CPT called animals, and then like probably a bunch of like taxonomies, maybe even like nested taxonomies, hierarchical taxonomies. I don't know. We can definitely do that. Probably that seems like a big project that I might have to note and do that again. I want to future proof my quality of life. I mean, again, I try to go as vague as possible at the top, so you can start to filter out throughout, whether that's with fields or with taxonomies. Um, but again, I don't know exactly, because every single time it might be kind of different depending on what you're trying to do. People still overuse CPTs. It should not be overused. There are also categories and tags. Yeah, 100%. You don't like, that's the thing is like, I have a lot of CPTs a lot of times on my websites, but they are like inherently different enough where like they shouldn't be like packed in together. Like all the things we were talking about earlier, right? We were talking about projects or case studies. We were talking about services. We were talking about policies. We're talking about integrations. The integrations maybe, but those first three, like those are so vastly different that like you don't have to have a CPT for all of them. But if you're in the mindset of dynamic data, they're different enough where those are your top level things that you're managing in your CMS, which would be your post types. But sometimes it does get where if you start too narrow, then it gets really weird really fast. You're like, shit, now I have to have like a bunch of different custom post types. So yeah, so that's what I would kind of say there. Real quick here, what do we got? Off topic, have you ever come across Buildarius? Looks interesting, but I'm a sucker for shiny new toys, and I have my credit card bills yet. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of Buildarius. I've never actually used it. I've heard really good things. I've heard like it's like isn't often in conversations with just like bricks and all like the really good page builders nowadays. I can't say anything about like actually what it's like because I haven't tried it yet. But maybe is that Elvis? Am I getting that right, or is it my wires crossed? I may have to check it out. Bricks versus Elementor. Everybody says bricks here, I'm sure. Real quick on that, and then we'll get back to it. I use bricks. I've used bricks since beginning of like 2024. Yeah, like basically like maybe like a year and a half or so. At this point, maybe a little bit before that, late 23. I think that it's just like it empowers me to do a lot more. Is kind of the way that I can say it. Elementor is the big 800-pound gorilla, and they've honestly, I think that their product has gotten so much better since I like left and was like kind of stagnated there. If one day we could do like a walk down memory lane on like all the things that I had to do. I have legacy Elementor sites that I'm like, Jesus, I had to do all this weird shit to get things to work, but now you don't have to. So I do think Elementor gets kind of a bad rap nowadays, but the problem is like it was so like kind of like there was such a mediocre period there where like they had so many users and they didn't have the tooling that those users wanted to. So then Bricks came out, and Oxygen came out, was one of the first ones, right? So like that was like the next gen. So I think Elementor is fortunate, and obviously they did a great job of marketing that platform. So now they have all these users, and now they're kind of like slowly it's kind of like Apple. It's kind of like Apple. It's like they got all the users, hooked in a lot of things. But if you notice, Apple's always like the last one to bring shit into the fold. It's like other people are innovating, and Apple's like, okay, yeah, we thought about that, or oh, that's a really good idea, but we're not gonna bring that out until like it's like good enough for our users. I don't know if that's exactly one-to-one with how Elementor works, but that's kind of what it is. Like they're the big one in the room, and it's like we don't need to innovate because we have all these. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're innovating to an extent, but we don't need to like go crazy because we already have the buzz to a degree. We have a certain level of it. And then that's the thing. So I don't know if that's exactly what you wanted to hear. Probably wasn't an answer. a good enough answer. Depends on what you're looking for. But long story short, I am not actively building new websites with Elementor. I'm building with Bricks currently, and excited to see what Kevin and the gang, because I am on the advisory board for Etch, what that ends up looking like here as we continue to move through that build out process. So that's what I got for you. I'm still a little confused by tags, categories, taxonomy, Mark's videos, WP videos, and ACF videos help. Okay, yeah, I mean it's not like a, you know what I mean. It's not like a, you don't get it right away. It takes time. But all right, so let's keep going. Okay, so project category. I feel like I kind of normally like doing this here as well. I could be wrong about this, depending on, like, it doesn't matter. It's just, you got to look at it and see what your preference is for singular or plural there on the key exactly. Hierarchical. I would normally always turn this on, because the way WordPress handles this, if you don't turn that on, it's really annoying to like add shit to. Also, I need to regenerate these now. Don't forget to regenerate that. That is very important, because if you ever don't do that, okay. Cool. Now, if I go back to what I was talking about, if I go back to post types, right, and I go to projects, and I say taxonomies. So the way that what I did here, I created a post type. I created a taxonomy. I don't have the taxonomy linked to the post type yet. The way I know that is if I go over on the left-hand side here, the taxonomies are always underneath, like the post types. You know, like if you go to projects, this would say project categories, whatever. So it doesn't. So I need to add that on there. So I'm associating this taxonomy with this post type. Save, reload, come back over here, projects, project category. Now again, I don't like that. That should be plural, but that's neither here nor there right now. So now what we have is we have project category, and then we can come in here and we can say like web designs. We could say logo designs. To me, if everything's going to say design, I probably wouldn't even write design at the end, but it is what it is. And then business card designs. Now, I will say one other thing. I'm not trying to confuse anybody, but sometimes this is the right way to go. Sometimes you should just use a field for this. It really depends on, like, do you want an archive? Do you want the ability to easily filter through the taxonomy thing? But you could also filter through fields. Again, I would argue that the way Jet Engine kind of handles some of their query stuff, it does make it easier. But Brix's built-in query, like query builder thing, is pretty good. And that obviously all works with ACF. So, but this is my point here. I just want to kind of illustrate one way to do this that Derek brought up here. We would have a bunch of projects, okay, which I'll probably end up filling in with Claude data here in a second once we have some fields. But we have a bunch of projects, and then we have now categories within those projects, and it's a taxonomy. And we could have a ton more taxonomies if we need to, but this one taxonomy controls the type of project that we're talking about, specifically in this case, the project category, whether it's business cards, logo designs, website designs. And in this method, you have a ton of projects because they are all projects, but those projects are categorized appropriately depending on what type of work that you did. So maybe you call this type of work or something like that. Again, whatever, design area, it doesn't matter. But the point is that that's how you do that. And then on the front end, if you wanted to ever create a query that only showed those, or create the archive that only shows those things, then you can do that. And it's very easy because now everything is set up in the back end. And then you could just create a template, and we could do it in the front end. So that was the first bit of that. The second thing we have to do here is we have to go back to ACF, and we have to do field groups. Now, we did a taxonomy before we did field groups. Normally, it makes sense, probably go post type, field group, and then taxonomy most of the time or whatever. But your field groups, I'm trying to give a crash course on this, wpdynamicdata.co. Go to that, and you will learn a lot more than I'm teaching you here if you're not familiar with any of this stuff. Post types, you need fields in your post types. Your post type right now is we just have projects. With field groups, you need to create fields to fill in data for those projects. You have to name the field group. This is another thing that's different between like Jet Engine and ACF. With ACF, you create the field groups and you attach the field groups to the projects. It works a little differently in Jet Engine. But in this case, what we're doing here is we're creating field groups. We're creating fields that we need to associate with our projects. That's what we're doing. So I'm just going to say, I could say project field group or project fields, whatever. So let's just do project fields. And then right away, do this before you do anything else, just because sometimes I forget, is you come down to the bottom, and this is where you want this field group to show up. Just because you named this project fields doesn't mean that it's going to show up there. Come down to the bottom and say project. Post type is equal to project. We're going to show these fields. And then when you go to projects and we add a new project, we're gonna have these fields associated with it. Now, let's think together. What types of fields are we gonna need for these projects? What types of data are we gonna need to put inside of the projects when we're building this stuff? Well, let's take a look at Derek's because he was so kind to share this with us. So price is one of them, potentially, like how much price it was. I'm gonna comment on some of these things. Do I think price should be on there? Depends on kind of like your business model and things like that. What I do think could be kind of interesting here is I just don't know how much information this kind of like shows them, so to speak. Probably wouldn't advise. I mean, you could do whatever the fuck you want, but I probably wouldn't advise putting like an actual number figure on there. I do like doing things that are like extremely transparent and kind of, not weird, but like innovative in a way, right? So I'm totally down with something like this. I'm just wondering if this is the best way to kind of do it. Because I like the idea of like being like, if somebody does come to this website, right? Again, assuming people do come here, right? We know the ins and outs. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But assuming people ever do come to this website, you do want it to actually convey a message. And maybe it's like a hidden, a diamond in the rough. Like, oh man, there's actually a ton of information on here. I can understand like what I'll be getting myself into and all that. If they came here, I like the idea of them knowing what they're getting themselves into. So something like that, maybe we could put price in there. I do think that this is an important one, like website builder. If you do different like website builds and things like that. But this is the fun and the hard part about dynamic data is immediately my thought goes to, okay, I could put a website builder field in here. But the trouble is now we've created a situation where we're going to have all these projects and we're going to add a new project and we're going to taxonomize or categorize it by either a logo design, a website design, or whatever. And then immediately now you have this situation where you might have fields that don't correlate to those things now, if you understand what I'm saying. Derek could come in here, he could click add new project, he want to put on a logo project. But if we put a field in here now that is related to only web stuff, like domain name or something like that, then we're like, it's kind of a annoying piece. That's why like I struggle with the taxonomy piece, because you can do it like that, but at the same time there's this weird spot where like really you should actually layer in more conditional logic, I feel like, in a lot of ways, and only show certain fields when things are present. Either, I'm not sure if you can show when, okay, what the hell is going on? There we go. When the post, can you show when like the post category, no, post taxonomy is equal to this? This is interesting. So here's an idea is, can we create more specific fields? Can we create web design fields? Can we create website project fields? Can we create, we're getting into the weeds a little bit here, so I don't want to necessarily do all this because like I want to actually get to the point where we're showing the front end shit, but I got time. And this will be on replay if you guys don't have time. So, with captions or with chapters at some point whenever the transcript is ready and I can use Claude to do that. Yeah, let's see something here. Let's see if we can do some general project fields. I got some ideas, and I don't utilize ACF all the time, and that's a really interesting situation down there. So let's see if we can do this here. Let's see if we can do something cool. So let's do like let's see if we can say general project fields. So these are things that like you would absolutely always want. You would absolutely always want in your project. And I can think of some ideas here for you. So like the field label would be like, let's see, I don't know, we gotta like say who it is, but like client name, something like that. Text is probably fine for that. Doesn't matter. None of that really matters right now. So here's my concept. We're gonna go client name. We're gonna say client. Actually, I should have probably said client. I like saying like client contact name. This will all make sense here in a moment, but Client contact name, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say like client, whatever, doesn't fucking matter. Like just client name is fine. That would be like the business name that you're dealing with, or the whoever the client is. Client contact name. I like this idea because this gives you a field for the actual business. This gives you a field for an actual person, right? And then this would give you a field for instance, like if you go image, client contact headshot. Okay, you understand what I'm doing here in a second. But the point is that I'm creating. Here's how I like to do this, but you don't have to do it like this. I'm doing a couple different things at once. I'm creating general project fields. So when we go to add our projects, we're able to see these fields in there and we can associate it. So you're adding a project, right? I think it's a very nice touch to always add like a testimonial if you have one for the project that you did. You also need a bank of testimonials on this website. In this case, if we're showing all the projects, we don't necessarily need to have a separate testimonial custom post type. You could, but you don't necessarily have to. And the reason is if we just use projects as that, we're all the projects and the testimonials and the projects are so like interweaved that we don't need to necessarily do that. And then we could always reference projects and just pull our testimonial information if we wanted to. So for instance, let's go and let's do one more here because we don't have any text. So let's do let's duplicate this. And let's just bring it down. Thank you. Okay. And then for this one, we'll call it client. Doesn't need to say client, but we'll just say like testimonial or something. Boop, boop, boop. Actually, let's say testimonial. Testimonial is good. Cool. And then you can do WYSIWYG. You could do text area. I normally go WYSIWYG just because there's like more options there if I ever want to do like spacing or anything, but for the time being let's just do text area. Okay, so the reason I did this is because we integrated the thing where with the categories. You're gonna understand why I did this here in a second. If we go right here and we say add new project, right, let's say that this is a website or something like that, right? If this is a website, then we're going to click web designs here. But the problem is if we had fields here that didn't have to do with website, if they had business card fields or something like that, now we're going to be an issue because we're going to it's not going to be a good experience because you're going to be like typing shit in and it's like, wait, I don't need this field because this is a website project. It's just a weird situation. So, but these fields though, you're always going to need. You're always, and we call this something else, but you're always going to need these fields in every single project to me, right? Maybe you don't fill them in, but they are pertinent to each one. So if we come back here and we go and we add, let's see, if we go to another field group and I'm just going to duplicate this field group. I'm going to come down to project fields and I'm going to say project, I'm going to say web, just like web design project fields. I've never done this. I'm hoping this works. And if it does work, I think, it's helpful because this is definitely a good way to handle this. So I'm not sure if you want to put the domain name on all of your stuff here, but every web project would probably have a domain name. Whether or not it gets filled out is a separate concern. I don't normally, you can use the URL field, but I'm pretty sure if you use the URL field, you have to put an HTTP whatever in there. The protocol in there, and the trouble with that is then we're going to want to use the domain name without that shit potentially if we show that on the website. So I always kind of like to go like this instead, where we don't really need both, and if we're not going to use both, we shouldn't use the URL field. So let me just actually change this right back. There we go. Okay, so we have a domain name field as an example. What are some other fields that we might need for web design projects? Let me show you what I'm going to do though. Let me refresh this. Okay, so see what's happened now. We have our general project fields. That's one field group, right? This one thing up here is a field group that we've attached to our project's custom post type. This other one down here is a field group that we've also attached to our custom post type, but it's a different field group. It's a different set of fields. Okay. Now there's the interesting thing that I don't know is going to work or not, but I think would be really cool. My thing is if I come in here and I say like John's logo, okay? And I'm coming in here and I put John's stuff in here and whatever. If I get to, or if I reorganize these or whatever, if I get to these fields, I don't want to see these fields because the web design project fields like domain name or any sort of other shit that is regarding like a website project has nothing to do with a logo. So what I would much rather do is create a situation like this where, okay, this is a logo, and then I'm going to click logo designs, and then based on what I click on here, which this is easier to do with conditionally logic fields, but I'm going to see if we can do this with taxonomy. If I click on one of these, then I want these to go away. Like I want the ones that I don't need to go away. And I don't know if it's going to work, so we're going to find out together. So I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to say for our website design project fields, I want it to show up when post type is equal to project, yes, but I also want it to only show up when the post taxonomy is equal to web designs. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to go back over to field groups, and I'm going to duplicate these web design project field groups, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to say logo on this one. I'm going to say like logo design project fields. Okay. And then I'm going to change this field to what is something that you would need to do on a logo. I have no idea. I've literally no idea. Some sort of field for a logo. We're getting in depth here, but I want to show you guys like the power of what this is, and then maybe we could talk about specifics, or I can answer some questions because I don't know. I just want to give you guys like the keys to the kingdom, so to speak. I mean, like I don't know. Like this is just so much fun, but there's like a lot of planning and thinking, and you don't get it just from hearing me talk about it. You have to just like try this shit a bunch of times. Logo design project fields. Is there a good field for logo design? I don't know. Amount of colors or some shit. I don't know. Why don't we just say like, no, that's not. I don't know if that's a really good one. I literally don't know. I'm gonna say like I literally have no idea. It doesn't matter right now, so I'm just gonna say colors, like amount of colors or something. That's silly, but I'm gonna do that. And then save, and I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna change this to logo designs. I do not know if this is gonna work. We're gonna see live. So what I'm expecting to happen here is that this is old, so I'm expecting when I refresh this page to not see web design fields. I'm expecting to see logo design fields. Okay, so I see logo design fields. Okay, maybe this doesn't work like this then. Does it? Because I could do this with a field really easily, with just like some conditional logic. But I'm wondering. Okay, maybe that doesn't work. That's kind of really annoying. Regardless, I mean, you could do it with a conditional field as well. But again, I just wanted to let you guys know that's how you handle it. But we'll come back and look. Oh my god. Okay, lots of comments here. Lots of comments. Let me get back real quick. Where are we at? Is it easy or difficult to go back to editing any naming errors? I mean, I would say try to not make any naming errors. But the problem is that I don't know how ACF handles it, but there's some really annoying shit that happens with dynamic data, okay? Like if I delete this right now, then it doesn't, I don't think by default this deletes it from the database. So like if you delete this and then you re-added Keller's, then all of those things would kind of like come back, so to speak. I think generally too, I might be wrong on custom post types. If you delete those, it's a real annoyance. I made a post about this. Jet Engine, again, chef's kiss, has a toggle on each custom post type that says delete metadata when you like delete these things, which for 99% of people, I have no idea why the hell you'd want to leave the shit in there. Like unless, because like nobody knows that that's how it works. So that's just like a rant of mine. I would 100% say like try to not make those naming mistakes. If you do, they are fixable, and they're not like a huge deal. But anytime like you're moving and deleting this data and stuff like that, like yeah, you want to be kind of careful and just it's like you almost have to remember what you had, or you have to go in the database and like kind of like purge the specific stuff. This is actually one of the big reasons I don't like the current situation with ACF, because that happens to me too often. Like I'm always like thinking like, oh, I want to change this, I want to do that. And it's kind of really annoying. For the fields or the field groups, I mean the field groups though, I don't think the field groups are that big of a deal. Like renaming those. I don't think so. Pretty sure you can just rename those. Like, yeah, yeah. It's not that big of a deal with that one. But the fields, and it's more of a database issue. But it's like you also don't want to like create like a bunch of shit there if you can avoid it. Annoying, difficult, unless you want to change the tables. Yep. Brennan knows what's up. Yep. Price info is always tricky. Show or not to show. Yep, 100%. Starting at is definitely a good one. I think for individual projects, I don't know if that's completely necessary, but I do like the idea of like starting at when you're talking about like those types of things. Yeah. It's tough because it's like, if you show a project that you did, here's a great example real quick on that. Like I did a project for $500, my very first one, but if I was actually doing that today, I mean, that is easily like $15,000. I mean, it was like ridiculous. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. My point is like, if you show in your projects page, right, your projects case studies page, a website, are you showing the price that it was, or are you showing the price that it would be to somebody else? You know what I mean? And I think that the latter is probably better if you're going to do that. But I also do think that a really cool way, random idea for you, if anybody wants to take this, is do like a page that's when you're selling your web design services, you can show like projects and stuff, but then you can, if you really want to go to this length, you could create a dummy website. And you could say, hey, if you like this dummy website, so it's not somebody else's and there's no like association, you could create like a dummy website that has a lot of features on it or whatever. And then you could say, hey, this thing is roughly like a website like this starts out at like $5,000, $10,000 or whatever. And then that gives them an idea of what that's kind of like. Now, we're getting so close to the idea of just making a templated website experience almost and printing those out. So I don't know how deep you want to go there, but that's something that I was just thinking about there. I would show the starting price on any packages I do, and then custom pricing to solve your problem. Yeah, yep. I would drop down for project type, and then show the fields that are correlated to selected project. Yep. My package pricing page would have actual numbers. Yeah. Business type, maybe logo, package design. Yeah, I know I'm a little far behind the comments here. It's on me. Okay, you guys are giving me some really good fields here. Nice. I need to save or okay. What the hell is going on here? I think this is kind of whack. I feel like did I set these conditions up wrong? If I go to post types or where am I going here? Actually field groups, web design. So show this field if post type is equal to project, and if I think this is how it's supposed to work, right? These are ands. No. Oh shit. Okay, wait a second. I didn't realize that that's how that worked. Okay, hang on. Hold the phone. Post taxonomy, web design. Get this out of here, and then save this. And then go back to here, go back to logo design, and get rid of this. Go here, boom, taxonomy, and these are logo designs. This might actually work now. Okay, so what happened there, those were ors, and I wanted ands, and I don't like this UI personally. It's a little confusing, but once you get it, it's whatever. So now, that is fucking sick. I will say that is awesome, and I don't think you can do that in Jet Engine. This makes your life a lot easier in some ways, because now you've kind of blended. I mean, you could still create pages. Page is a bad example. You could still create like a template. Well, it might be a page though. You could still create like a templated experience off of a field if you know what I'm saying. Like let's say you had a field that was like a checkbox field or something, right? And instead of a taxonomy, you have a field in here. And it was like, okay, is this a business card design, a logo design, or a web design or whatever? You could click those things. You could click those things in those fields and then create a loop or whatever that shows those. The trouble is if you want to create an archive, like that templated archive experience, this is the way to go to actually have like a taxonomy, because that's how it's built to be done. The trouble is, until this moment right here, is that the experience you create is that it's a little weird, like I was talking about with the fields. So down here now, if I click on logo design and I click update, Oh shit, did I not even have to click update? Oh my God. Oh my God, I don't even have to click update. That's amazing. Guys, we're learning live here. This is wild. Did you see what happened there? Let me move these up here so maybe it's like a little easier. So this is the flow. Oh my God, that is sick. I'm getting excited about this. That is sick. Okay, so here's the flow, right? So if you set this up like this, for instance, right? You have projects and you're adding a project. You would come in here and you would click add, John's logo or whatever, and you would be, all right, cool, John's logo. I have to pick this. I want to pick this first, so because it kind of controls the rest. So all I did was I dragged this taxonomy into the middle, and I say logo design. Awesome. Now I have logo design fields, right? And then I get to the end and I have my project design field or my general ones as well. So if this was, if we go to add a new project and we say like Jane's website, right? This is actually sick. If we go to Jane's website and then, okay, this is a web design. So now I have web design fields and I could say like janesdomain.com. That is awesome. Damn, I didn't even know you could do that until right now. That's sick. Okay. Yeah. So that's lovely, guys. I really would highly recommend you try to do that. What do we got here? Also, don't change a field type to add another value, delete and re-add. Yeah. Interesting. Don't change a field type. Like a post type or actual field type? Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, my question still is there. Does that delete it from the database though? But that you're right though. Don't change the damn name because that is kind of like annoying. Thank you for that, Jamie. Appreciate that. Gen is very powerful and well thought out plugin. Yeah, it's solid. That's exactly why I only display dollars. Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty sick, the real-time update. It's like a second. I feel like it's a second delayed, but it's pretty fast. It's fast. It's fast enough where like if you tell them, if you tell them or your team or your clients or whatever. Okay, great. So that's really cool. We kind of got a little off topic. I mean, it's all on topic, but that is I think this is how I would do that, right? Again, given our kind of scenario here that we're working through, I would definitely do like projects and then I would kind of categorize them. Now, we don't have much data in here yet. I could get more data, but what I do want to do is I want to make sure that we actually at least get the very minimum amount of shit done that we need to on the front end, just so we know like at least the bare bones, and then with more streams, and then if you guys go to wpdynamicdata.co, you can learn more like kind of slower there because it's like 10 hours of shit. Okay, so the specific stuff we were talking about with the archive, right? So the way that we do this is we effectively, mileage may vary, you might want to do something different, but effectively here's how I would do this. Somewhere on our website in our header is going to be about, contact, all that stuff. Minimum viable product, we want projects. Like we want to have a link that says projects, and we want that projects page. It's not a page. We want that screen when they click on that. We want to see basically what Derek has here, right? If we go back, this is kind of what we're shooting for, right? I think Derek has this as a page. We're going to try to do it as an archive because we have all of these things are projects in our situation, and they're all under that project's CPT, so it lends itself beautifully to an actual archive. So if we come to templates, this is how I would go about it. We come in here and we say, you can name this. This name doesn't really matter, but just do it so you know what this is. This is an archive, and it's specifically an archive of projects, or you can name it projects archive, whatever you want. You're never going to see this permalink. This permalink is how Bricks shows like the template of that permalink, but you're just going to use this template as a thing. Like you're going to utilize this template on other like archives and situations that are conditionally set to that. So you don't need to worry about any of this stuff necessarily. Just name it something that you know what it is. You come over here to the right, you have options. Can you see this drop down? No, you can't. Doesn't matter if you're in the back here. There's header, footer, single section, pop-up, archive, search results, and error page. Just click archive, okay, for this one that we're doing. There's tags, bundles, and other shit that you don't necessarily need to do. It's kind of behind my face cam right now. It's not important. Just click the publish button. We have a title. We have it set to archive, and we're going to edit with Bricks. Once we go into Bricks here, we're creating, I cannot say, do not say the word page. Do not say the word page. It's not a page. I wish there was a better word. We should like use the word screen or something, just like as something. Cause like you default to like page, but like you're creating the screen that someone, sort of the archive, but you're creating the screen that people see here. Okay. And that's what we kind of want to do. There's some like more things that we can go in deeper. I struggle because I know where we're going here with this building this archive, but let's just keep it as this is one thing that we're trying to build. We just want to build like the layout, the screen, and the archive for all of our projects. So we build something like this. All right. So high level here, right? That's all we're trying to do. We're gonna build like a little card thing or whatever. I don't have any data, so this is gonna be really annoying. We could just go like, I don't know, simple. Should I use frames for this or should I actually build the thing? Frames is gonna be way faster, but whatever. If I go like this, just simple heading, boom, get this out of here. Change it to dynamic data. You have to understand what you're doing as you're doing this. You are not building something static. You don't want to build it statically because that ruins the whole point of what you're trying to actually build. This is an archive. And it might be like a one-off kind of archive, but you don't want it to actually, like, you could build this as a page, but it would be silly. So, you know, let me just show you. So you could just type in like projects like this, right? Personally, I wouldn't do this because I would just want to put like the archive title in there. Just because like if it ever changed for whatever reason, like I don't have to come back in. I like to make as many things dynamically connected as possible because if I do, then my life is generally just easier. But let's just keep it like this for now. So this is what we're going to try to do. If we come back here and we go back to our site, which I don't even know, it's probably just going to be like a sample type site here, right here. If we type in projects, this is going to be our archive, right? Now it automatically did that because I think I might have that setting on. But generally what you want to do is you want to come in back into your template here. You want to go to is it template settings, conditions, add condition, and then say, can you see these drop downs? Yeah. You can say archive, and then for post type, and then for projects. Okay? Probably went too fast there. Let me explain. We're creating an archive template, but we have to assign that archive template conditionally, like we have to assign it conditions. And we're assigning this archive particularly to archive post type projects because we want to show this thing when somebody goes to that /projects page, which is the archive for projects. Kind of starts to make sense if you know what you're doing and you start to think about it and play around with it more, right? So that's our first kind of step in this whole thing. The next thing we have to do, obviously, is we want to create some content on here. We want to create like our, if we use Derek's as an example, our little filters and our containers and everything like that. So let me just, I'm stealing something here from frames if I can get it to load. Load. Thank you. Let's do, is there a nice little easy card grid somewhere around here somewhere that I can just steal? These might work, but those are products. I don't see why those wouldn't work though. We can get rid of some stuff, but that might work, right? We got this thing again that I gotta, I guess, import. I have no idea what to click on these. Gotta figure out how that actually works. Also, I'm pretty sure I'm using the one that's, I don't know if this is actually gonna work. With, no, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that because that's gonna create more things that have to change. We're just gonna do like we're gonna do a different grid that's more simple. Or I could just build one because it's just a freaking card. But I like to just drop stuff in and just keep rolling. Let's do this one. Nice and, okay, is that gonna work? Yeah. Good enough. Okay, where did that go? Come on, Bricks, help me out. Help me out. All right, we'll do this as another section, so we'll wrap it in a section. Lovely. Projects would just be like your hero or whatever you could do there, and then these are your things down here. I want to go to do we have filters? I think we do have filters, but I also want to probably go like this, and then this is we got a container here. Can I add another? Let me add another container in here, maybe. Container, give me a container. Thank you. Lovely, that'll work. So we have our grid down here. We have our containers up here. We have our container up here for our filters. We're gonna go to filter. I mean, Derek did a great job already building this here, so I'm just kind of like copying a little bit of what he's done. We do different things. I mean, there's selects, there's radios, there's what have you. Um, if I'm thinking about this, yeah, that's probably, you can do them on the side, you can do them on the top, doesn't really matter. Some of it is all just personal preference. Let's do filter here, and then I'll show you guys how to do these filters. Let me come down here to these grids though real quick, and let me get rid of all this and go to right here, card. Oops, didn't mean to click that. Query loop. So we're going to query loop this card once we put this dynamic data in here and everything. We're going to say posts, we're going to say projects, and I mean, realistically, at first you would want to show everything. Also, is main query. Might want to turn that on potentially, but not necessary for right now. So if we're building this template, like I hope this is making sense. I'm going to go to the chat in a second. But again, for anybody that's like new to this, we're creating an archive. We're creating the archive template here. We have assigned it to our specific archive for these post types. So there is no page. Like if you look at the pages, there's no page here. This is just an archive template that we're assigning to this thing, and it's all working, and it's all going to be slash projects. Like the other thing is if you try to create a page at slash projects right now, you're not going to be able to do it because that's what your slug is. So the other thing is when we get to the singles here in 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, when we get to the singles here, it's going to be slash projects slash John's website or whatever. I like that because if somebody gets rid of that at the last part of that URL, then they just come back to this. It's like, it kind of just makes sense to me instead of being like some other situation where there's like some other, path that it follows or whatever. So down here in these little cards, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to say title. That's going to pull in our titles dynamically. And then we don't have a description field or whatever. So it is what it is. The other issue that you're going to have here though, is you could have a description, which we should probably put a description in our field here. I'm going to bounce around a little bit, guys, but let me know if you have any questions. There should probably be in our general fields. This is a nice thing that we did here. We could do like a short description, something like that, all right? And then this could be just like whatever, text area is fine, I guess, and get rid of that. So save changes. So now we'll have a short description. Now, in my mind, short description is vague enough that we could use that for any one of our project categories. It doesn't have to be website stuff. It could be any of them. And if we were going to do it just like this, then this would probably be the way to go, right? And I think I know one question that you guys are going to have, or maybe Derek specifically is going to have with this, because I already have it, is, well, what happens when I want to create, though, a page that's just all website design stuff, not just these other things? I mean, you could do that. You could do that in a couple different ways. Where did my shit go here? Right here. And then if we go in here and we say description and short description from ACF. There we go. Now we have no data in that just yet, but that's the case. I'm just thinking, guys, again, I'm just thinking of like random shit that's going to go wrong because I think about that constantly. Is if for these things, what I would recommend is I would recommend making these a standard size, whether it's like, or standard aspect ratio, whether that's square or 16:9 or whatever. And then for the featured image of every single one of these projects, if you have them grouped like this, you need to make a custom image for all of them. So like if it's let's use this as an example. This is easy because these are just like basically the hero screenshots of each one. But imagine if you had a grid like this and they were all projects. You're going to have logos in here. You're going to have business cards in here. You have to create images and set them as the featured image as the same thing every single time. Like the same, if it's, let's call this 16:9, right? You have to make like 16:9 and put the logo right in the middle. so your grid doesn't look like shit. Okay. This is the situation where like projects is wide enough where like you can categorize them and everything like that. And I do think that's the right way from the content management perspective. But when you get to something like this where you're displaying the data, it's like how do I make sure that it doesn't look like crap, even though technically and data wise it's pretty similar, but from a actual display perspective, how do I make sure, especially images and shit, are like that? Another thing is like this page, for instance, if this was our our broader projects page, it's like this is the thing is like we can't have this stuff in here. You know what I mean? Obviously, like Derek was doing this specifically for websites, but I'm saying we can't have website type and website platform in these cards. I mean, we could have them in there and conditionally hide them. We could, but I'm saying like it's not. I'm not sure if it really gives what we want when we would have a big, thing of projects. And again, at that point, you even ask yourself, well, is that something I even want? Do I even want like an archive of all these projects? And if the answer is no, then you don't build this. You don't build this archive template. You build 3 other archive templates. Well, actually, you don't have to build 3 archive templates. I mean, you technically kind of like you could build 3 archive templates, 1 for each one, or if you guys are interested in this, we could try to build 1 archive template, 1 source of truth, but shows differently depending on what category we're doing. But I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. I'm going to the chat here real quick. I need a drink of water. Damn. Where are we at here? I don't know if you heard my stomach there, but it was growling. Where are we at? Do the CPTs have any SEO value? I named them location, business type, web design. Okay, so I think I see what we're talking about there. Location, what was that? Yeah, I probably wouldn't. Are you saying that you put website design in every single one of the CPTs? Are you saying you wrote that in there? I probably wouldn't do that just because that's like that'd be a nightmare for me. I'm writing that in there, like the website and all that sort of shit, but I probably wouldn't do that. This has not even been reloaded yet. Thank you. Okay. So like I'm putting website and logo in there, but I wouldn't necessarily do that. I would probably see, this is the tough thing for me. It's like I don't actually like projects either. It is what it is, but I like, well, actually, wait a second. No, you didn't do that, right? Yeah, no. See, you did. Is this the title? Just as an aside? You're probably right. I think most of us are probably only gonna do. See, this is where like I get to this point, and like I almost like clients better than projects. Not exactly, but the thing is, like for instance, like four paws here. Like if you did more than one thing with them, then it's like, do you want to just show the business and show what you did, or do you want to show like individual? Like for instance, if you did like the website and you did the logo and you did the business card, it's like, do you want to show that 3 times, so to speak, or do you just want to show like that business that we did business with, all the things that we did for them? That's where I'm even now. I'm like, I kind of like that approach. I kind of like projects or case studies or clients or whatever to always be the title of this, to be like, John's Donut Shop. And then if you do more than one piece of work for them, they only ever get like one project, so to speak. I'm personally a little, it's interfering with the way that I think about it, but I don't know. That's probably a moot point. But to go back to the SEO thing, I think Davidas said, but it has to make sense to the user for sure. I honestly would not worry about the SEO thing here. I'm going to tell you straight up, because the amount of information that you're going to have on those things, unless it's like a really big case study, you're not going to like rank for that. Also, it doesn't make any sense that you would rank for that. A funny story here is there are clients where like, not really anymore because I've changed the website, but at a period of time, you would search their thing and my website would come up because I had their website, like their page, their single indexed, and it would show that shit. Like it's really funny. Like you could type that in, my client's name in, and like their website would show up first, obviously, but halfway down the page or towards the bottom of the first page on Google, my single on my website would show up. And it was just funny because like it's like, well, they need to get their shit out there even more, because my website is showing up when they're searching their name. But the point is, When would you want that to actually happen? I mean, maybe you would if you like want to get leads from people saying your name, their name or whatever, but ultimately these pages are, I think, good to have and important to have, but they're not like lead like SEO drivers. I don't think, like, it's maybe in certain cases. I don't know. Everybody has a different thought on there. Yo, what's up? Yeah, we're just working on like kind of like a design portfolio page type thing. So like a website design portfolio or website portfolio. Um, just kind of honestly working just heavily on dynamic data right now. I need to dive more into the actual piece of it. The front end is projects, your full portfolio, websites, logos. Yeah. Um, Currently, the way in this setup, image heading, basic text, basic. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean that it doesn't matter. Yeah, however you want your cards to go. And also, I mean, obviously we don't have components right now in the stable version. I don't think still, but we could componentize them if we want. Where can I get this image placeholder? I don't know if it's from Frames by ACS, but I can't find it. I don't know. That actual I don't. Do you have frames? If you have frames, it's just kind of in there. But you have to turn on. I think you have to go to templates. Well, actually, no. I guess you don't have to import images. I thought for sure you would have had to import images, but maybe you don't. Oh, yeah, I don't know. If you do have it, then I guess you turn it off and it gets the images. But I'm not sure where that specific one is. You could also make yours, yeah. I plan to do a recent work archive page with website design logos. Interesting. Okay, so that's an interesting one. So if you could just query that based off of like the most recent ones that you posted, like just like the date that like WordPress assigns to it, that would be an interesting one. But that's just a query, really. I mean, that's not like you don't even need to do anything crazy there. And for that, I actually think that the easiest and most straightforward way to do that one, unless you're doing something weird where like you're setting it as featured or setting it as recent, the easiest way to do that one would probably be just a page like slash recent work or something, and then just create. I mean, you could use the same template kind of, but basically just change the query. I mean, if you want to do that, Derek, yeah. I mean, I'll take a gander. It might be better because I mean, I'm just kind of like I'm talking in theory here. If you actually want to use an actual, real example, we could do that. Semantically, not honestly. Okay. What else do we need to work on, guys? Let's see. Obviously, we should get some more data in here, but I don't really want to. All right, let's see here. Pause for access to Derek's website. Let's see. Sure. I'm gonna log in here. Is it my? We are in Derek's website. All right, man. I appreciate you doing this. We'll play around here. I'll give you some. I'll give you some of my thoughts. Let's see. Should I just? Yeah, we should be good, right? I don't want to dox anything here. I don't think I'm gonna do anything, right? All right. Are you cool? You're cool if I bring that on screen, Derek? Let me know before I do that. um, just want to double check. We are operating very live right now. So, um, what's the next thing we should do though, too? Jane's website. Okay, so the other thing here is projects. I mean, all right, let's do it. All right, we're on Derek's website. Let's see what's going on. Okay. So, Derek, I don't know where to click here. Let's see, buddy. Let me go. Actually, could I just reload this? Cool. All right. I'm not gonna touch anything. I'm not gonna actually gonna break anything here. Let me see the back end there. Let me see what we got. So we have website designs and logo designs. Okay, so honestly, yeah, 100% I would say I would 100% say don't you don't need both of those. So I would go projects. For field groups, logo design, field groups, web design, field groups. I mean, this is kind of what we were doing, right? Industry. This is interesting. Did you make this industry? Did you make this industry? Is this all? Is also taxonomy though? Yeah. Okay. Also, I wanna kind of delete this shit so I'm not like thinking that we're in one thing without thinking we're in another. I'm gonna just slide this to a different area. Okay. Um, Website platforms. Okay, so okay, yeah. So taxonomies. Yeah. So we got industries, website taxonomies. Why is my mouse being a bitch? Okay, stop. Industries, website platforms, and website types. Okay. What do we got in types here? Actually, what are we doing? Is that happy files? A lot of happiness going on. Let's say website types, brochure site complex. Yeah, so okay, I like that. I like that. I think website type, platform, industry. Okay, so I'm liking this. I think this is making sense to me. Industries, website platform, website types, all as taxonomies. I think the thing is, I think sometimes I do this as well. I think sometimes we think we need to make more CPTs, but actually we need to make more taxonomies. And I don't like having a ton of taxonomies, but I do think that's like much better than having a ton of CPTs. And I think it's because you can use the taxonomies to relate or kind of categorize data across those different post types if you need to. And it doesn't really matter how narrow your taxonomies are, as long as you're going to need, as long as you could see yourself needing like an archive, so to speak. So like I could definitely see, I don't know if you need to use a taxonomy for these ones. Like maybe I would say industry probably, website platform maybe, website type. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know personally if you need to have one for website type, like a taxonomy. That might just be able to be a field. But obviously, with what we're looking at here, it wasn't like a projects and then kind of the conditionals that we did to get to it. So it kind of makes sense. Um, yeah. Okay. But how did you do this on the front? Did you just if we go to here and we just edit this but don't break it? Let's see what we got here. So this is what we were building there, right? So we were just building like the target query. So that's these cards down here. So you target the card, input filter. It's a taxonomy, so it's industry, so it's website down. This is what I was talking about. I think there was a field in there, right? That there's industries here, but there's also in the field group for web design, there's also industry. So in my mind, this is unnecessary. Checkbox. Yeah, you don't need this. Yeah, I would say unless I'm missing something, I don't think you don't need a taxonomy that handles industry and the field. That's a little redundant. So I would say you don't need that. You don't need type, you don't need platform. If you have the taxonomies, you don't need the field. It's kind of like one or the other. Okay, and then portfolio page link. This is what we're talking about at the top. This is not what you don't need this. I mean, if you want me to just build this right in here, I'll just do it right now. Check the page and burst cameras. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll literally just, I just want to see one more thing here with the templates. So website portfolio. So this is your, okay, so you did a section. Okay. So yeah, I would say, we get out of here, we go over here. So if this is a page, then we were just doing an archive, and then we were the singles. Okay, how did you handle this other situation you told me though? Pages. Did you do a bunch of did you do a bunch of did you say that you did a bunch of um like things for all these? Yeah. Maybe hang on a sec. Let me try something here. Let me go. I don't want to go there. I want to go here. Let me try something. Let me go in here. Okay. So this is a page, right? So this is not how you want to do this. This is yeah, definitely not ideal. So here's what we want to do. Here's what we'll do though. Let me see if I can fix this for you on the fly. So we're going to edit this page with bricks so I'm assuming you have a ton of pages right now. You have a ton of pages in here that are, I'm going to sort this by date real quick. Okay. Yeah. So we duplicated a ton of pages, right? So we don't want to do that because it's just not necessary. Let's do it a way that's going to make your life a lot easier. So if we come over to our actual page, though, this is the page that we have, and we have intro, testimonial. We have all this stuff. This is good stuff. I like the layout. I mean, like this is the shit that you want to have on this page. So if you have this though, right? Here's what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna come over. I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna go to templates. I'm gonna go to add a new template. This is kind of where I was headed. I was just headed there slowly because I was talking too much. Okay, so here's what I would do. I would say single. I mean, I'm gonna call it. I don't know. I could call it projects, but you might want to rename this. It won't really matter if you rename this part. But we want a single. Okay. What we're trying to do, we don't want pages in this situation. We want a single template, and we want to dynamically show these things. So I'm gonna just say projects, but it would be, in this case, if you don't change it, it would be like logo design or website designs or whatever. All right, so we're gonna. Okay, wait a second. We're in maintenance mode. Coming back. We're good. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do here is because Derek already did all the work. I'm going to take all this shit. Can I I probably can't do this, can I? Can I save the page as a template? Is that an option in this biatch? Save as template. Boom. Love it. Wait a minute. Is the whole thing already saved as a template? Can't be. Wow. I guess we could have just done it like this then, probably. Actually, I'm not sure. No, we could have. Fuck. Okay. Let's do single. Let's do this. Let's say projects. Single. Save as template. Lovely. I think that's going to work for us. Let's get rid of this now. I know I'm doing some wild shit here, but just stick with me. Just hang on. Just hang on. Templates. I'm going to delete the one that I did first, okay? Because I don't need it, because I just created a template. You created a page. Here's what happened. You created a page with all that stuff on it. Good layout. Good, makes it, like, solid, like from a layout and design perspective. The trouble is it's a page and we need it as a single template. So all I did was I saved that page as a single template, and now that's what we're going to end up with. We don't need this right now. Well, actually, we are going to need that in a minute. Let's go in here. This is our page, which we don't care for. This is our, I'm losing my mind. Let's go in here, edit with bricks. Okay. So our project single. So now we literally already did it. We're pretty much already done. Great. And then here's what you have to do. This, we'd have to play around with this more because there's no dynamic data necessarily being pulled in here. And that's like the whole point of all of this, right? So you don't have to, tear your hair out like trying to play around with all this. But if we come in here, we say settings, template settings, and conditions, then we say add condition. We say post type. We say, again, we want projects maybe, but we'll keep it simple for this, and we'll say website designs, right? And then we say this. So now we created this template, and this is going to show up on all those things. Now, just so we know that something happened, I'm just going to put like a 5 in here or something. So now what I expect to happen is this isn't going to change because this is still a page. If we come over here and we go like this, we pop this open, we come in here, this is still taking us, because you have this situation, this is unique. I mean, this is unique what you did here. I guess you set these you set these links to be the portfolio page, but you just don't need to do that because it's already creating the links for you. But I understand what you did there. You created like a link to a page, which in certain, like in some case, you may actually want to do that. Not in this case, like with the grid, but like it's good to know that you can, you can create that dynamic data somehow there. But in this case, that's not what we're going to want to do. So I'm going to change this for you. So in the back end on our grid, what we're doing here is for our button, we don't want you're not going to need this field. Like if you do it the typical way, you're not going to need this field. So that's not necessary. What you want instead is you want the post URL. Okay, so you want the post URL of each one of these. And how we're going to know that that worked is that right now, if I click on this for pause one, it's giving me this, which is literally the page. This is the page that was created, like that static page or whatever. If I refresh this and I click on this now, it's going to have a 5. Boom. Because every single one of those is now they're now all dynamic singles that we're going to instead of those pages. So to recap, already what you can do is you can delete all those pages, and you can delete the field, or the field that says what's it called, the you can delete this field here. You can delete this. This is not necessary. You can delete all those pages, delete that field. We'll probably delete all these if you're going to use them all for the other thing. Yeah. And then if we go like website designs real quick. Okay, so you made this like this. I'm trying to think. Is that... what's this look like? Does it say website design on it? Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. I probably wouldn't. I would probably just use the title as the business name, honestly, if I was just kind of being simple about it. Like I probably wouldn't write all this in here. I'd probably just say like, whatever the business name is, so you don't need another field for business name, so to speak. It's probably what I would do. Screenshots and featured image. Yeah, I mean, I like that. Yeah, it depends on the featured image is always easier to work with. Like, if you're doing like the share, like the open graph, it's going to be by default. So you just got to decide on whether, which one you want there. Page is not a template. Yeah, I think we made it one. Taught me something new again. Nice. Delete anything you want. Gotcha. All right. So this has been fun here. What else do we need to do here? So like for instance, let me just show you another one here. So like if we go here, right? So this is our image. This is our image on all of the dynamic things. So I'm going to change this once, right? I'm going to come into here and I'm going to say let's do featured image, and I'm going to say save, and then I'm going to come back over here. This is a page. This is an actual for pause thing. So there you go. So then if you come into this one now, it's going to be like that. Like if you did the hard part, bro. You put all the data in here. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like you did exactly what I was doing on my end, but it just takes a long ass time to put all this shit in here. So you did all the hard part. But then you see the power there, right? I changed one thing. I have one template, and boom. You know what I mean? It's like that simple. And all this other text here, we'd want to make this all dynamic. So for instance, right now it's all static. If we get out of this, if we come into, I'm not sure what other fields you have, but like, let's see, what do we got here? Can we do, I'm not sure. Again, I don't know if we're going to use I don't know if we'd want to use a, thing for this or not. And sometimes like, taxonomies kind of like behave a little differently. But if like, for instance, we duplicated this, we went here and we said, what do we got here? If we say like industry, just for instance, and we get rid of this and we say, this is how you want to do it. Because industry isn't going to change from single to single, right? But we would want, let's see, do we have terms industry maybe? I'm not sure if there's any data in that one. Yeah, so pet grooming. and then hair salon. Now this, anytime you work by default with like taxonomies and shit, it's always really annoying because like it's going to try to do some stuff like this. There's an easy way to get rid of this hyperlink if you don't want the hyperlink in there. Because if they click on it, now you can see this is, we didn't get to this point, but this is a really good example. Okay. I'm gonna accept these. If this is a really good example right here, when you get to this point, this is why you might want to use an industry taxonomy rather than an industry field, because we didn't do anything to create this slug, but it exists, like industry / beauty and hair salon, or maybe even does industry, or maybe industries, I don't know. That might not. But the point is that like this right here is a taxonomy. This is like an archive for the beauty and hair salon taxonomy. So if you had 10 beauty and hair salons that you've done, then this is a page that you didn't, it's not a page, it's a screen that you didn't create. It's an archive for that. You know what I mean? And you could globally, so to speak, you could create one template, or even use the same kind of template that you have now, and you could just do like this similar thing where anytime somebody clicks on an industry, they can see all of the templates. Now, you don't really have to do that because you're doing the filtering thing, but I'm just trying to give more examples, and this is the reason why this is important. I'm going to give you a counter, though. This is just chock full of gold nuggets. If you guys are getting value, hit the like button. But the counter to this is that when you do these taxonomies, now you have a shit ton of things that potentially could be getting indexed. So you want to make sure that you go into like rank math and you turn off the things that you don't want Google to potentially get and put in your site, put in your sitemap and then for Google to index. Because if this page is useless to you and you never need this, you don't want that. Also, should you get rid of the archive maybe maybe you can get rid of the archive in general from ACF? Maybe. You might want to do that potentially depending on how you're utilizing it. But I don't know. Lot of back and forth here. How would I rank for location, business type, web design? I would make a page. Well, maybe not a page. I'd have to think about what it is, but I would create a service area. Yeah, I would for something like that, I would probably say that kind of signals like a service area page is what I would say. There's really good examples of that. Unfortunately, the best example that I've ever seen was a Nerd's World and RIP. I'm sure there's other ones though. That was just really funny because he would take like I don't know if this is the best. This is definitely not probably the best way, but he would take like 10,000 words. He would put it on a page. He would litter a city name throughout it like 100 times or whatever. And then he would just swap out those city names. I'm sure he did that manually too, but I could do that super automated. But my point is that if I were you, Derek, and you wanted to do that, I probably would. Here's what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't associate my services with areas in the services custom post type. What I would do is in this case, I would create another custom post type called like service area or something in that regard, like areas, or probably not locations because that's a little on the nose, I would say, but like service areas or something. And then it would be like / service area, and it'd be like service area / Pittsburgh, Toronto, whatever. And then on those pages, those are your singles for that. And then on those pages, you would literally just have a ton of content that's about like what you do, specifically directed, and with the name of that city all in there. And that could be honestly, again, kind of like automated in a way. You could put a ton of content, and in all the content on that single, you could put squiggly bracket, yes, allow, and then like you could just put squiggly bracket and then like post title, right? And then the post title in that case would probably be the city, like Pittsburgh, Toronto, whatever. And then you could set the page meta, like the title of that and everything like that, to be like best. You could literally hard write in best web design, and then enter the variable for the page title for the city title, and do all that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if that's a solid strategy in 2025 though. But it's definitely a fun project. I mean, it's definitely a fun thing to try to do. That would be kind of the way that I would kind of go about it. Page title meta. You would do that in rank math. Yeah. Yeah, David Doss. Yeah, you disable that if you want to do that. If you want to do the thing. I don't. Is he dead? I don't think he's dead. Is he dead? I don't think. But it is. The thing is, yeah. Oh, he's not dead. He's just in jail. Yeah, yeah. What's up, Mohammed? Thank you so much for being here. Sweet. All right. What else we got here? I'll delete this 5 for you. The location, website design. I don't know. We're just getting into like random marketing stuff. I probably wouldn't put that here. I would probably just put like somewhere on this page you need to write the actual business name. You know what I mean? So I would probably say like, I don't know if you want me to just change this real quick just to give you an example. I would just go, your post title is a little weird right now just because it has all that stuff. So something like this would either be title or would be that, and then like this. So that's all dynamic, and then that's hard, written in there, statically written in there. And then, I mean, you're on the right track with all this stuff. I would say this right here is exactly what I was talking about. Put those fields that I said in there, like the customer, like the client name. You probably already have the business name. You probably don't need that, but the client name or the client contact name, this could be pulled from somewhere else. The headshot, they're probably all going to be 5 stars. Like, so honestly, you don't really need that. And then, if you want to call out, yeah, you could definitely do that. And then the actual testimonial text, and then put that all in there. And then if you don't have one, what I would do here is, I would go like do this, put those fields into the back end, like put those fields into ACF like we were doing before with the general fields or whatever, right? And then if you want to have a testimonial for everybody, but that's something for me, I guarantee you will not have a testimonial for everyone, or you won't have it in time to publish this page or whatever. But you don't want this shit to look like this. So you come in here and you say conditions, and you say condition show if, this is always like showing if, dynamic data. And the dynamic data here would be something like, you don't have the field right now, but it would be something like, ACF testimonial, right? So like this would be that field that you would create, testimonial, and then show if it is not empty. Okay. So then what that would do is that if you don't have anything in that business's project testimonial field, if you don't have anything in there, it's going to hide this whole section. If you do, then it'll show it. And that's how I would set that up. I would almost do that for every single one of these, depending on what you're trying to do with all of these. Like this is real good stuff, like old and new. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's pretty sick. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. But again, here's the thing. You have a lot of shit on this template. So, in lieu, well, there's different ways to do it, but in lieu of you designing every single one of these archives, you need to make sure that you have all the data in the field group. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what you're going to put on all these things, but where you have all these numbers here, like you have to go into the field groups, in those field groups, and you have to create all those numbers, and then you have to come back in here. You don't have to do it once if you do it, dynamically, but you have to come in here and say like whatever this field is going to be. So it's going to be like the mobile score of whatever, and you have to reference those. But the problem, I'm just saying, like the bottleneck here is literally just all the data. So you have to set all the data up. You have to make sure you have the data for it. And if you don't have any of the data, like I just said with the testimonial thing, you have to make sure that you're hiding this shit just so you don't, so you don't see like, stuff on the front end. People don't see it. Yeah. Cool. Nomad, thank you very much, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate that super chat. Thank you so much. Do you mind showing me how you could make sub CPTs in ACF? Sub. Do we mean give me an example though. Are we talking about the bidirectional thing? Is that, I know I got, was that is that you, Mohammed, that asked me that question off of stream at one point? Is that like a project related to another project, like a bidirectional relationship? Gold nuggets. Gold nuggets. We need a gold. I need a gold nugget. I'm gonna put a gold nugget emoji in for all the lovely MJS channel members. I'm gonna do that. I need to write that down. Gold nuggets. Gold nuggets. I've been waiting for something that like is like channel worthy, like community worthy. I think gold nuggets are pretty good because I just like talk a bunch and have random shit that I say that's like really good. Okay. So Derek, you let me know what else you want to see here. I think what I'm going to try to do is potentially go like a child of a child, maybe subcategories. Let me flip back over. I'll put this, where am I going to go here? Where's the dashboard? Oops. Do you want me to save this? I'll save it for you, Derek. Let me go here. Let me pull this back in. Let me see what we got here. Going back to my install here. Let me see post types. Like a child of a child. Oh, interesting. See, this is the fun part. I got to turn Jet Engine on for a second. So this is why I like Jet Engine. Because if you go to Jet Engine, you go to relations. Buddy. What the? I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Gifting? Who's gifting? Brendan, are you gifting shit? What does that do? What does that mean? Buddy. Brendan, thank you, dude. Just gifting people memberships left and right. Jesus. I feel like a Twitch streamer. Gifting bits and shit. I don't know what's going on here. Brendan, you're a dog, dude. You're a dog. Everybody say thank you to Brendan because I actually don't know what he did. I think he just gave you guys all memberships. Fuck. Dude's sick. You guys are dope. Appreciate you. This relations list here, okay? I just want to show you this because I think this is kind of pertinent to the question. So there's like posts, and this is a post and pages. And post and pages, and then there's like a parent relationship. So like places to events, like parent relation. To me, I don't know the terminology here. Okay. I don't know for certain if this is like an actual like grandchild relationship. I did have this question come up though one time. It was like users to teachers to students maybe, or users to teachers to class. Like it was like some sort of like class course structure and all that sort of stuff. It was wild. But the places that parent relation is, to me, it's like posts and pages, and then what is related kind of, I think of it kind of as a ladder. So I'm showing you in Jet Engine because I know that it's that simple, but I'm wondering how we're going to be able to create that in a different way. So can you give me an actual scenario, Mohammed, that we could look at? What type of content do you make in the YouTube membership? Currently, it's like very low cost, and I don't really think there's like any specifics that there's nothing specific content that is gated right now. If you guys have ideas for gated content, let me know. But we are at the very beginning. I literally just started this like a couple weeks ago, and I thank you guys so much for being a part of this, for being a part of it. But yeah, I think it says on there, you get the little emojis and you get like other little like priority comments and stuff like that. But yeah, we're open to new ideas. So definitely let me know. Rolando. Nice. Oh, what's up, Rolando? I see Jennifer. Nice. Nice. Yes, thank you, Nomad. Membership start at $1.99, or we can gift a donation anytime on stream. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. It's gonna be a hell of a 2025 here. Okay, yeah. So, Mohammed, if you're still here and you have that question, I'm happy to talk about that and look into that. I think that this is the way that I would do it in Jet Engine specifically. I would have like a relationship, and then I would have another relationship, and those things would all kind of like correlate, and then you could have effectively what you end up having is kind of like a middleman, so to speak, and then you're able to pull it down from there. I honestly don't know. How to reference, like, because the trouble is, I'm thinking it's not just about connecting the data, it's about actually utilizing it, right? Like with the query on the front end. And if you don't have the jet engine query builder, you might have to be creating your own thing. I wonder. We'll try this. Hang on a second. I'm working on a project where I have to make services CPT and then category CPT under then. Okay, so this is a great example. This is something that I'm not sure exactly, but my hypothesis is that we might be the project might need something and we think we need to do it one way, but we actually could do it a different way and it might be easier, right? Because this whole concept of like grandchild relationships, I don't think it's necessary in cases, but I'm not sure if it's always necessary. I think there's always like there's a lot of times where I don't think you need to do that. Um, this direct will be saved. Are we talking about the live? Yeah, live is gonna be on the channel right after. Um, yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me star that one. Okay. So let me go back to this real quick. I'm working on a project where I have to make services. Okay, services CPT, then category CPT under that, then under the specific services. Okay, I'm not fully understanding that, but as soon as you said category CPT, I don't think that that's what we need to do. What I would think about doing, Muhammad, instead is go services. If let's get rid of jet engine then because I don't think it's necessary. Um, Here's what I would do just real quick, like hyper fast. What I would do here, Muhammad, high level. I'm not sure if I'm misunderstanding, but what I would do is I would create your services CPT. I would do that through here. Um, Damn, guys, you are popping off here with the memberships. Davidas, thank you. Steve, thank you. Damn, Jesus. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Gifting. There's gifts going all around. Christmas is over, but we're all getting gifts here. This is sick. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right. So where we're at here. Okay, so in the field groups, like I was saying, Mohammed, if you go post types, right? And then you go, like yours would say services instead. My question to you would be, are you creating taxonomies? Because I would probably go categories. So I'd say like service categories here. And then under the specific services, create under the specific services, under the specific categories. I need to know a little bit more, but I think I don't, off the top, just from that, I don't see a reason for grandchild relationships, but I could be misunderstanding something. Derek said, Mark, would you please briefly restate how to start from scratch for ACF, CPTs, etc.? Did you create every example piece for me? I could watch a video and be. I think together with earlier and then the kind of what we did on your site, that's pretty much it. I'll give you a 1 minute explainer though. A 1 minute explainer is you create your post type, then you create your field group or field groups or whatever, but let's keep it simple. Create your post type, then create the fields that you want to go in that post type. Then if you need to categorize them particularly, you create a taxonomy and make sure when you're doing this, you're relating everything back to the post type. Like in the post type, you're relating the taxonomies here, and in the field group, you're assigning the taxonomies here. Or I'm sorry, in the field group, you're assigning it to the appropriate location, so to speak, or in this case, the custom post type. So that's all you have to do there. On the back end, that's pretty much it. We didn't talk about options pages. I have to talk about options pages because I love options pages. But that's kind of where we're at with that. Then on the front end is literally 2 steps. Like it's so simple once you have it. It's 2 steps. You create 2 templates. Okay, you create an archive template. Okay. You create a template up here, you name it whatever you want, archive, whatever. You come over to this drop down that you're not gonna be able to see, and you say archive, okay, and you save that, and you edit that with bricks, and you create your page that's /services/projects, whatever. And then you come back over here and you create a single, you come do this process again, you create a single, and that's what each one of your individual service pages are going to look like. Now, I am over generalizing the fuck out of this, okay? Because like you like for a service page in particular, you might not want to do it like that. And there's another video that I made recently that I should probably link it because this is important. It like you might not want to do that, but like for what we've been talking about today, everything we've been talking about today, you would probably want to do it just like this, where every single one of your single services, projects, whatever looks exactly the same for the most part. Like the layout is the same. You're using that template, but you're just bringing in the dynamic data. So hopefully that was like at least somewhat of a thing. But it's literally 2 steps. Like it's not anything obnoxiously crazy. Let me give you the link to this one, where if you want to go crazy, you might want to go to this level. Event conditions, no. Here it is. So this is another good video that I would say to look at. If I could find the chat, where the hell that is. This is another video that I made recently, templated versus something conditions, where you basically in that video, let me just show you real quick. Don't talk, Mark. Okay, thank you. Just highlights real quick. I would watch this video, I just threw in the chat. The difference is when you're going through here, shush, thank you. When you're going through here, if you want you should always have this set up, right? Like you should have like service / digital marketing, service / web design, whatever, logo design. You should always have that, to have that, but also be able to have full control over your actual thing. There's a ton of different ways. I think there's probably a bunch of comments too where people are saying like different things to do. My point is like, you want to manage your data properly. You do not want to have these things in the pages, and the way you have them not in the pages is you create the CMS items like we're kind of accustomed to, but then you do some crazy shit on the front end with templates. But it could be as simple as what we did here, where we were talking about, we just saw Derek's. He had the full layout. I copied that, I saved that as a template. It's a single now, and then all you do is you go back through and you collect and you put in the dynamic data. That way, every page, every screen, every website design, for instance, on those is going to look pretty much exactly the same unless there's some conditions and stuff. But it has the same layout. It adopts that same layout and just puts the dynamic data in. If you watch this video, the one thing I talk about is sometimes you don't want that to happen. Sometimes you want your pages, your singles to all be like kind of unique, right? Maybe you have like 5 services and you want them all to look different, right? What am I looking at here? There we go. You might want all of your services to like look different, have a completely different vibe and everything. And to do that like dynamically would be just a pain in the ass. There's one setting in Bricks where you can change and then you're able to do that. I would not start there though. I would not start there. Absolutely wouldn't start there, because it's going to confuse you on like exactly how to kind of do that. And what these, if you're new to this, it's not going to be the best place to start. It's kind of like a secondary thing, but watch that video if you're interested. Where are we at here in the chat? Okay, I got that. Let me see here. I guess the pressure is now to create gold nuggets for members only. Yeah, I got to do that. We're gonna get a ton of gold. We're gonna make a gold nugget factory. It will look like this. Mohammed did that. Oh, let's see. Okay. Max, thank you for being here, man. Happy New Year. Services category service. Still a little confused on that. Should I just make the services a single page instead? Services category service. Give me a deeper example though. Oh wait, okay. Hang on. We'll come back to the rest. Hang on a second. Because in my head, the services page will be a CPT with each category as a CPT because the category CPTs will include the specific services. No, totally good. Everyone's new to dynamic data. I would say that is a little over-engineered. Maybe the best thing that I can think of is just let's try to explain it in just like terms of what you're trying to achieve, not how you think to achieve it. And then I think we can reverse engineer a solution from that. Steve, I appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you. Are you structuring that just to get the URL structure? Are we talking about this? Or are we talking about, might be talking about the Muhammad thing. Um, yeah, I think for me, I'm definitely structuring it like this to get these. Why is service a grandchild of services? Yeah, that's, I think there's definitely a way to do it here. Yo, what's up? OXFF. Bricks Forge node edit video has been dropped today. Worth the watch. I'll have to look at that. Let's take a look at that. You have archives handle the displaying of the services, create services CPT, and then use that to display each service categorized via. Yeah. Okay. So let me think. Handle the displaying the create services CPT. I mean, it sounds like we're on the right track there. You loop through the categories, and then you have services. Yeah, I need the exercise. I need the mental exercise. I usually disable archive and create a page with the same name to replace the archive. It gives me more control with the same URL structure. Yeah. I mean, do you do that on all of them? I mean, I think, I mean, I've definitely tried to do that in the past. I think part of it is kind of where you're more comfortable with. I trained myself recently, like within the last like 2 years, to be like, I'm just gonna use this because I'm gonna have way less stuff in my pages. But it definitely does get confusing because you're like, if you're not used to that, you're like, where the fuck is my projects thing? Like, where am I? Because you'll go to the projects page and it won't have, obviously, I'm saying page. You'll go to the projects archive, like slash projects, and it won't have an edit page button, right? Like it'll just have like an example. If we go here, projects, like it doesn't have, like it has edit with bricks, but we're actually editing here as the template. So it's kind of confusing. It doesn't have like a page. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, I got you, Jennifer. Appreciate that. If you're a channel subscriber, you use the emotes. I gotta get these guys to this is all I get on my end because I'm looking at through the restream chat. I know what they look like, obviously, but I want to show them on this stream. And for some reason, it shows like emojis, but it doesn't show those ones. But that's a funny one, yeah. Yeah, we got to get some more of those too. So for the home page, there will be a services section. I want to query each category in that section, but each category should have specific services under it. Oh. Okay. So I want to query each category in that section, but each category should have. Oh, wait a minute. Hold the phone. Okay. All right. You're talking about a nested query, I think. You're not talking about, I mean, maybe not specifically there, but I think you're much more. I'm just Payne. You're talking. Yeah. I don't think we're talking about a relationship. I think we're talking about more of a nested query. Well, fuck it. Let's try one, huh? What do we say? Let's do one real quick. I mean, we could use the projects, but I'll create a new one just for the fun, because I love this. This is my favorite part. I'm not a designer, guys. You definitely not going to get that here. But I appreciate you being here for this. I don't think we need that here. All right, so we're gonna do services. Okay. We're gonna do another field group, I guess, and we'll call it just services fields. It's not really that necessary. Services fields. What kind of fields would we have in that thing? Probably just have a title, really, a title and a. I mean, I'll throw a description in here, as if description, whatever, and then this can be whatever, and then down here we'll say service. So what we're doing, service fields, okay? Service fields, all we have is description. Also, I forgot to turn the editor off because I don't like that. Services, I'm going back to services. I'm coming down to advanced configuration. I'm turning the editor off, great. So we have services now in our situation. If we go to services, we can go here and we'll say, I have no idea what type of thing we're talking about here, but like what type of business, but for the fun people in the room here, we'll say web design. This is kind of going in line with what we were talking about, right? So web design, we'll say logo design. Wait a second. There's categories of services. Yeah, so there's categories of services. So we're obviously going to need we're going to need a bunch of services. Then we're going to need, well, maybe, like 3 to 6 categories or whatever. And then I love nested queries. But I'm wondering how I'm going to do it exactly. But maybe we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I know it's very easy in Jet Engine, but we'll see what works here. Should be easier. No, I think Bricks makes it easy. Okay, so logo design, and let's do another one, and let's do web management. I don't know, whatever. Let's just do 3 categories, and let's do. So that would be like, we'll call it digital or something. We'll call this one. I don't know why I would want this. I mean, it's random like thing, but let's say landscaping. Yeah, this is a shit ass example, but we'll just do landscaping, hardscaping, and snow removal. I don't know what this might be, like a directory site or something, and then just one more. 3 things that are intertwined, 3 things that are intertwined, or 2 things that are intertwined. What's an example? Oh, category would be something like web design. Oh shit. Okay, I see what you're saying. I'm gonna star that one from you, Leanne. There. Be right back to that. Okay, so web design, graphic design, and okay, so it's kind of like categories. The categories are kind of like the main service bubble, I guess. Okay, let's just do this real quick then. Let's go back to this. Let's get rid of these ones because that's silly. Nobody's gonna know what that is. It's gonna be like weird. All right, let's do. So why don't we do web design, logo design, and actually let's do logos. Whatever. Let's do logos, and let's do. I need to create this taxonomy because it's screwing with my head without thinking of that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I created the services, and then I'm going to go create taxonomies. I'm going to create add new. I'm going to say service categories. Back there, copy that because I don't like typing. Service category and service category. I like service categories, like I said earlier. Post type, services, service, whatever. Make this thing hierarchical, as always, because it's a pain in the ass to add those things. Make sure these are regened. Great. And save. Lovely. Service categories. So we'll go to service categories, and we'll say web design, if I could type, and we'll say graphic design, and anything else. Any ideas? IT, great, love it. Okay, so then over here in our services, so these are services like kind of underneath that, right? Like we're talking about. So let's change this one to like UI. I'm just gonna call it UI UX, whatever. And go back here. So UI UX. I know that permalink was messed up, but whatever. Logos, and then give me logos and what's another one? No, you're good, Moment. This is actually a really good. This is a really good question. I have a thing to do, thing on my list to do nested loops, but I think this is pretty straightforward. I just have to add all this shit in here. Logos and I don't know, prints. It's fine. And maybe just one more. Can we just change? So logos and prints would be like one of them. UI UX would be one of them, and then Wire framing, I guess, would be one of them. Is that how you spell that? Yeah. Great. Now I need to add all these services. Damn, these aren't getting published. Shit. Okay, prints, publish. Prints would be graphic design. Save, update that. Come back out here. Wireframing, I got to publish this one. So this will be published, and this would be like web design. Update. Get out of that. Oop, get out of that. Go back. Go, go, go. Okay. Web management. Let's change this to printer setup. Get rid of this. And then change that to IT. Great. Love that. Services, logos, quick edit logos to graphic design, quick edit UX design to web design. Boom. I think we're good. Okay. So here's the deal. We have 3 categories. All right. We got 3 service categories. We have graphic design, IT, and web design. We have currently 5 services, and these services all have different categories, which I'm sure there's a way to put the filters on here, but I don't, the actual things over here so you can see them, but whatever, you're just gonna have to trust me. Wireframing and UX are on web design, prints and logos are on graphics, and printer setup is on IT. Those are the categories they're assigned to. What we wanna do is we wanna go to this. This is generally like those are all give us the ability to do what we need to do from a like filtering or templating and all that sort of perspective, but we don't need to do any of that right now. We could just do a test page because that's kind of what we're talking about, like on the home page. So if we press publish here and we go to test and edit this, edit. Let me go back to, so what Mohammed said here, so the home page, so like for instance, the home page will be a services section. I want to query each category in that section, and then, but each category should have specific services under it. All right, so what you want is a nested query effectively. I don't know how you want to show this per se, but I'll do my best to just give something that's like half decent, even though generally I'd like to kind of plan out how I want to do this. What you have is 2 queries. That's what you have. So let's say this is, I'm not going crazy with classes or nomenclature. I'm just trying to make sure you understand it as much as possible. So what I would do here is I would have like a block, and I like to still call it a card, even though it might not look like a card, just because that's the way that I think about it. So this would be the service card, okay? So our service card, and it's kind of easier to think about this in some ways if you work from like the inside out. So within this, let's go just like a heading, which is fine, whatever. And then forget the H3s or anything like that. It's not important right now. Let's do post title. So this is our service card. So let's say all we want to do first is we just want to list all of our services, right? We got all these services. We want to list them. Fantastic. Okay. So we're going to do posts. We're going to do services. And we're going to say -1. Okay. Boom. All right. So right here, you know, you can change the order or whatever, but you have all of your services listed. Okay, pretty simple. If you understand dynamic data to a degree, then that was relatively straightforward. Well, what we want to do now, though, is we want to create, right, like this nested loop situation, which does get kind of like confusing pretty quickly if you've never done it. So what we want to do now is let's do, probably the best way to do it, let's do another block here. And let's go query terms. We're querying service categories. Okay. And then in our block here, we're going to add a heading. So I'm going to add a heading inside of my block. And this will make sense in a second. I need to kind of do it, and then I'll kind of revamp this for you. So I'm going to call this category card. I could fucking spell. Okay. Heading. This is going to be, we're going to dynamically bring in, I always get confused on which one this is. I think it's term name. Indeed it is. Okay. We're also going to make this just like an H1 just so you can see that shit. All right. Not important, the things. Okay. But okay, so what do we have now? What do we have now? We have a loop, right? And you could make these like, you know, flex towards the middle or whatever. Like it doesn't need to look like shit like this. But the idea here is we have a category card, so to speak, or whatever. That's our whole thing, right? And then within that, we have a heading. And that heading is being brought in just by the term name. Okay. And then within, this is where it gets very inception-y, okay? You have a card within a card, or you have like and again, we could talk about components and all this other sort of shit, but that's not important right now. Like you have like a loop within a loop. So we're looping all of these big things are like we're looping through our categories. And then under here, we're looping within those, we're looping just the services of one. Now you're asking yourself, well, we don't have that yet, right? Well, then what we need to do though is we need to adjust our loop for our service card. So what do we want inside of these category cards? We already have, imagine like a card, and it's just, let's go instance by instance. We have a card and it's just the graphic design card. We only want posts that are associated with the current term, okay? Honest to God, I'm not even 100% sure exactly how to do this. I think it's, can you do this directly in here? Is it current? Is it current term? There's one thing you have to do here. And it's either, I'm used to the jet engine query builder for this shit, but I know it's right here. It's not a taxonomy query. It is terms include, I might actually have to look this up, to be honest with you. But that's literally all it is. It's one thing. Do I do this? Do I have another example where I do this somewhere? Or can you not do this within bricks? I think you can do it within bricks. I'm almost certain. I think there's one thing in here that I have to do. Let's scroll down. Taxonomy query, term ID, taxonomy query. Oh, right here. There we go. In term ID field. Compare in, maybe. Is that it? Let me see. Is it just slash test? Look at that. Jennifer, very good at this shit. Jennifer is very good at this shit. Yeah, so that's it. Everybody give Jennifer a round of applause. Yeah, there we go. So that's how you do that. But let's recap there. As you can tell, there's a bunch of shit that is like just dug in here that you're never going to learn everything in like 5 minutes. So there's no way, like an instance, I knew how to do that. Jennifer helped me because like I didn't remember exactly how that worked, right? But like the point is that there's a couple things, a couple big takeaways here in my mind. One, somebody asked about Elementor versus Bricks earlier. I don't remember being able to do this in native Elementor. Okay, like there's like so much like stuff here that you can't get overwhelmed, and you don't want to get worried that you don't like understand every single thing. You just have to be able to express what you want to do, and then there's probably a pretty straightforward way to do it. I didn't do any sort of relationship craziness here. I didn't download any other plugins. I didn't do anything. I just was like, okay, this is a pretty reasonable tool here, like that we have at our disposal. I created the post types. I created the field groups. I didn't really need to create any field groups necessarily. And I created the taxonomy. We linked to the shit up just from the categories perspective. And then with a couple clicks, we're able to create a nested loop that is beautiful. Well, obviously, it's not beautiful. It works. We can make it beautiful, but you get the idea there. So hopefully that made sense. Let me go back in the chat here. What will be the purpose of being so granular? Yeah, I mean, I could see a reason for this. Maybe not in this specific case. This is absolutely applicable in like a lot of other scenarios, though. Like I was talking about, like if you had like a, if you're doing a client site for something where big home services company or something like that, like maybe you have like plumbing, HVAC, and something else, and then underneath there you had a bunch of different ones. Yeah, I mean it's a little granular, just like the web design space, but yeah, ideally you would have ideally here you wouldn't really have. I think my shit is messed up here, and I don't have like my selection color has been messed up for a very long time. It's been on action for a decade. Is that gonna fix that? Yeah, okay. But yeah, so like this like you're probably never gonna like click or go to like necessarily graphic design. I mean, maybe you'd have an archive here. You gotta understand, guys, though, like if you're new to this, like it just opens up a world of opportunities where you could click to graphic design and then you could have an archive that is dynamically generated with all the things. And it doesn't make any sense at first. The reason it doesn't make any sense, one, because you got to know what to do, but it doesn't make any sense at first, even when you build the website, because you don't realize how much time this will save you when you actually improve the website or change the website or add more shit to it, or the client comes back to you and adds like a ton of things. Like you have to be, it's almost like you have to be in the mindset of like, this thing is going to get out of hand. Like you have to be prepared for it to get out of hand. So you can, you put these types of things in place where maybe one day you do want an archive for graphic design and you could just switch it on and you could do it, and then it's a big page of like all the different things that you offer there, and this is just maybe like a few, right? Oh, this is a beautiful example. You only have like, this is like a section, right, where this looks like shit, but like it's just 1 2 3, like a three column layout, and then each one you only have 3, right? Maybe you have prints, logos, and I don't know, graphics, or I don't know, something else, right? And then underneath it says see more or show all. The most like straightforward objective place for that to take you would be the graphic design template, like the graphic design archive that you created with a template, and it shows all of them, like a big list of them or a grid or whatever, or maybe more information. And then, but you could also click on these, and these would go directly to like the service singles for prints or logos or what have you. So yeah, that's just, I'm thinking those are some of the ways you could utilize all that. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Uh, oh yeah. Yes, it's yeah, a quick revision. Yeah, if you yeah, I mean obviously you can just like jump back and everything like that. And this will be available on my channel, afterwards. With chapters whenever Claude is done doing its work. Um, but yeah, diamond nuggets. Okay, we're getting gold, diamond. I'm writing that down too. We're getting diamond and gold nuggets. Okay, diamond nuggets. I appreciate that, Mohammed. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Damn, this is fun, huh? All right. So yeah. So hopefully that explained that. To reiterate though, there's no relationships here. Zero relationships. You do not need it for this. There's absolutely no grandchild relationships. This is just post types, field groups, obviously, and then taxonomies with a nested loop. One day I should do a nested loop. That'll be interesting. I gotta think of a reason to do that first. Okay. Cool. Explain my reasoning perfectly. This project is going to be big because the company has a lot of services and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I should extremely cut down on everything. Um, do I offer one-on-one hourly meetings? If so, how much? Yes. I can't remember right now. I think it's just on my thing /consulting. I think I have like 15.30 an hourly right now. marksmansky.co/ just go to mjs.bio. I think there's a link directly on there. Cool. Where are we at here? Let's see. Yes, each subservice like UX. Okay, we got that. Okay, so John said, I recently completed an agency portfolio website built with Elementor. Everything is built with a loop grid, I could send the link to you when I. Yeah, I mean, I was saying that earlier. Like, it's came a lot. It's came a big way. Like I have these websites I was saying earlier, like the legacy websites where I don't know if you guys ever used this if you're from Elementor land. Originally, if you ever used before they had custom loops and custom loop items, and you were like, oh, I don't want my loop to look like a blog post card. You know what I mean? Where only certain things were different. Before they had that, there was a trajectory where the first thing I had to use was LE Custom Skin. That's what I used, which was just like a free and then a paid, the free and paid plugin that just did that. So that was interesting how they handled that. And that worked. But now it's like kind of weird and like there's just no use for it necessarily anymore because it has it built in. I also used Jet Engine, because Jet Engine changed the entire game for me with Elementor. But even in between that, I used one called Live Mesh. I don't know if you guys ever used Live Mesh, which, again, these are great tools at the time that I had to use and worked. But now I have that on sites. And because of the way that like, the new architecture of Elementor is, or the old architecture of that is, like there are sites right now where for some reason I have these custom loop things on there with live mesh that I created because I had to at the time. Maybe they're like carousels or something like that. And like there's CSS weirdness that I could fix, but I just kind of don't want to. That I could just rebuild it in Elementor, but it's a pain in the ass. That it's like messing with the header. You know what I mean? So my point is, I'm not looking for sympathy there. I know how to fix it. That's not what my point is. My point is that when you build with that architect, like any architecture like that, and then you move forward in time, you're gonna have those issues. And it's like that's the thing that I don't hate Elementor for that by any means. Like it's just, but that's the reality of what happened and why people have like a weird taste in their mouth. I feel like on a lot of that. And then it's also like we also have to be honest to the fact that the thing has came a long way. I don't use it anymore because, like I said, I love bricks just with what I'm able to do there. I don't know if it has like the querying level that we just saw there like an Elementor. I'd have to be educated on that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely still a tool that's widely used. So yeah. Mark, after I delete fields, taxonomy, etc., would clean the database in perf matters, plug in, remove the data? I assume yes. I genuinely don't know the answer to that question, and I don't want to lead you astray. Everybody that I've ever talked to, including Brendan O'Connell, Nick RC, because I posted about this on X, I thought you had to go in and actually delete the shit because it's like it's not like cached bullshit data. It's like actual data that's in your database supposed to stay there. Maybe Perf Matters has that. If they do, it's an incredible feature where if I could just click a button and sync, so to speak, my database with like the front end of my ACF, that would be amazing. But that's again one of the reasons that like Jet Engine is dope for having that. And I don't understand why ACF just can't put a toggle in there. I'll show you guys the toggle real quick if you want to see it with Jet Engine. Like it's stupid simple. Like there's no reason. Everyone is talented in this industry. Let's just put that in the damn thing. But I understand there's different priorities for different products and different timelines. I get it. Right here. See this? This delete metadata. Toggle this option to delete metadata from the database for deleted meta fields. So like if you come down here and you delete this start date time here, if you have that turned off, you delete this and like that's still in there. So if you deleted this, you saved, refresh, come back 3 months from now, and you add a field back in here called start underscore date time, it's still in there. And it's like, I've had that happen. I was like, where the fuck did this data come from? Because then you go back to the posts and now you have that in there and you have data back. Like it looks like you have data back in there because you do. It's like all it is in the database is this variable with this value. And all you did was you deleted it from the GUI, right? Like the front end, so to speak. And you didn't delete it in the database. And then you come back and you're like, that's sick. Thanks. But the same thing kind of happens with like post types and things too, from what I can remember, which is why I just try to plan things out as much as possible in the beginning. Because if I really wanted to, I could go in the database and I could figure that out, but I don't want to. Truthfully. Where are we at here? I do want to come back to... Let me come back to Leanne, I promised. Hi, Mark. Love your videos. Off topic, please forgive me. I was on your site and see that you use late point. I'd like to know how you were able to have the modal with late point form pop up. Okay, I could do that. Are we talking about the consulting one specifically? Because that would be timely. Let me see here. Where do I have late point at? Do I have late point just down here? I think I have this. Are we talking about this right here? Also 250 apparently is what we have right now. If we're talking about this, I could show you this for sure. Actually, I like that it doesn't click off here, but that was my first thing to do was to click off there. That was weird. All right, let me log into that real quick because that's a simple one. Real quick while I'm pulling this up on late point. I love late point. I know I'm at the it's obviously part of the SureCart, Adam Prizer, like enterprise there and everything like that, the Sure team. But Tamik, solid. They have a Discord server, marksmancy.co/latepoint if you want to get it. But I really like it. And but one of the things is like that's another one where there's a ton of shit that you can do. And it's just like there's there's so much like documentation and things, and like something like this I had like no idea exactly how to do until I like kind of figure it out. Obviously just via the documentation, but it's just there's a lot of really cool shit. Let me see if I can do this real quick. I think this is one step process for this. Late point again is a thing. Okay, so here's all you have to do. I'm pretty sure is there's look if you look in the documentation too. If you look up OS trigger booking, I'm pretty sure that's like the class that you just need to put on any button. So I put a button. I have my button primary class, and then this thing right here, and then you can book. Obviously, this is just text. Is there? I'm wondering, is there any attributes though, or anything that I put on this? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so this is what you have to do. You have to do that for the class, and then as an attribute, you have to say data selected service, and this is a value of 1. So the 1 is the ID of the service in late point. So if you go back into your services, you go and you look and you say like there's a 1 like as soon as you go into the back into the services. I don't think I can show you because I think there's like other random shit back there that I don't want to like show right now. But if you go back there, there's a service ID for each one of them. You put that in here in your attribute. And if you just look up this in their documentation, you will find this like OS trigger booking dot or late point or whatever, then you'll find that. But that turns it into a modal, and then that pops up, and then you're able to like book directly through there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else specifically. I did that because the thing I don't like about late point right now, it's understandable, but it's in WordPress, but it doesn't use like custom post types. An alternative is like Jet Appointment, so to speak, or Jet Booking. Those use like custom post types, so to speak, to actually do it. So you have a slug for each one of your thing, like in your website, just by default. What you'd have to do with late point is you have to create like a page, so to speak, if you wanted to actually have that. And all I'm saying with that is like I wanted a simple call to action where people could go through that and book that, and that's why I did the modal rather than taking them to another page and doing all that sort of stuff. So this button's here and then on the consulting page. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Let me know if it doesn't. Where am I at in this chat? Let's see here. Maybe category of websites. Okay, we did that. Did that. Okay, Mark, do you do SEO campaigns, audits, tracking, etc.? Honestly, no. I try to get into SEO a little bit. I mean, I do SEO like I do brute force SEO, we'll call it. And that's me putting a bunch of shit on the internet constantly, okay? And then when you put a bunch of shit on the internet constantly enough under the same branding, you get something like this. That's what you get. This is my methodology of I have a video on this too. I'm not going to go deep into the Google Knowledge Panel thing, but like this is what I do to do SEO is I put up a fuck ton of content under my name. You can do it on your brand too or whatever, but like specifically under my name, and that's what happens. I just put it all out there, and Google's like, wow, this person on all these different platforms is putting all this out. I do it simply, so to speak. I wouldn't even really call that like actual SEO. That's just me, just like heavy content. I talked about it a little bit earlier. I'm not an SEO expert. I don't claim to be one. I just claim to be somebody that like observes and makes some hypotheses. I don't think it's going to be super. I think it's going to change heavily. If we typed in a question or something else, we're probably going to get an AI response up at the top first, as you guys have seen, like with Google and everything. They're taking this and they're changing like the search experience, and they realize that people like to just ask people questions. And these AI LLMs are basically doing that. They're creating this situation where you're able to have a conversation with a computer, so to speak, rather than like have a conversation with a computer rather than like look at these entries and be like, well, which one of these do I want? You know what I mean? I think it's in a lot of ways for the best, but I do think it's going to change the SEO game heavily. I don't think we're going to be able to do as much more like we were talking about earlier with like the service area and stuff. Like, I don't know if that's going to be as prevalent anymore because it's almost going to be a mixture of like volume and like credibility, but to a higher degree than these search results were. You know what I mean? It's also not even going to be one to one with the fucking content that you put out. Like for instance, Google is probably scrubbing this video along with 16 other videos that are similar to it and making its own answer. That's literally what AI is, right? So I'm just saying that I got off on a tangent here with the SEO thing, but long and short of it is no, I don't really do SEO stuff. I've tried a little bit in the past, but I pretty much just brute force it like this because honestly, I'm gonna tell all of you guys, I think that this is really the play. The only play that we are really gonna have like heavily left is to just do this, like just put shit out there and just be like as authentic and as real as possible because everything's getting fake. Like everything's becoming like literally artificial. So I don't know. That's my thought. You guys let me know what you think. Muhammad got a dip now. It's been lovely. Love your client portal series, by the way. Is it over? Can we expect more from it? Yeah, I mean, if you guys have more thoughts on it, definitely. I should do more about the client portal. Thank you for being here, Muhammad, as well. Appreciate that question. I think everybody learned a lot there. Yeah, I'm down for more client portal stuff. It does extremely well on YouTube. It's actually like mind numbing how good it does. Everybody loves client portal stuff, but I also struggle because I want to make sure that like it's kind of like pertinent to like what would be good for people to learn. Like what I'm saying is it seems like it's getting a lot of views, especially this older one that I did with Elementor, which I understand why that's getting a lot of views, but it's not. I'm not getting a ton of questions on like how to do something or what to do. And I don't know if I'm wrong for thinking this, but like I'm wondering what the does that mean that like the content is good, but you guys don't, but not you guys, but just in general, like aren't following through with building it? You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to see like how can I continue to provide value there? Like what do we need to see? Like I genuinely don't know because I was going to rebuild my client portal in bricks because it's still built in Elementor and I'm like, like I just don't want to deal with it, particularly from the operational challenges that it's going to have to do. Like I'm going to have to like move shit. If I stay in WooCommerce, it would be okay. Stay in WooCommerce and QuickBooks payments is what I use. But I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to try SureCart and build something over there and maybe SureDash and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just this is a content creator's dilemma. It's like I want to continue to provide value, but I want to make sure that like you guys are getting value from those types of things. So I don't know. We can do more. How can we make testimonials dynamic if we're using the Fluent form to capture the testimonial data? I can't use Strong plugin as it has no option for the fields I need. Interesting. Never used. Also, guys, we've had incredible viewership for like, what is it, 3 hours now? Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Can't tell you enough how much I appreciate it. We're using Fluent form to capture the testimonial data. Okay, I don't have Fluent form. Is there a free version of that? I can't use the strong testimonial plugin as it doesn't have the options. So I'm going to need more information on that. At a high level, okay, I'll tell you at a high level how I would do this without knowing the Fluent form plugin. And if it's available, I can like download it or whatever. I'll look at it real quick. I'm not sure if that's just paid or not, but I've heard of Fluent, but okay, cool. All right. Yeah, whatever. We're going to test. Yeah, cool. I don't know if this is going to have it. Okay, high level. This is how you do this from my experience. You have a form plugin, Fluent form, WS form, XYZ form, whatever. Your person is putting in the testimonial, which would be like their name, the testimonial stuff, star rating, whatever. Maybe headshot, I guess, whatever. They enter that into the form, and then that part's pretty standard. It's kind of like a contact form to that point. But then on the back end, you have to make sure that you have the ability to like actually. This is a tough one because I don't know if I would personally let people just dump data directly into my database is one thing. Definitely not like automatically onto my website. I would probably rather them go to like a draft state or a pending state before they actually get published. So that's just something that's going through my head. Where did that go? Fluent forms. Never used this, guys. Zero knowledge of this. So do not. All I want to know here though is I could do this WS form, but all I want to know is in the free version, can you dump the data into, can you do what WS form is like, can you do post management, so to speak? Can you put the data into, and obviously the way that I'm probably gonna have to do that is I'm probably just gonna have to go to here and settings, operating without a net. Fluent Form should be paying me to explore the product right now because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Let me see here. Confirmations using the free version. I'm sure you can do this. Fluent Form's a pretty big platform, but I just don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it like this because I don't have the pro version. This looks pretty limited with this. Let me just look real quick. Fluent Forms post management. This is what you want. I mean, there's other people obviously that have already done this, like something similar. Is there, hang on a second. I hear some sort of. I hear some sort of running water or something in my house. I want to make sure that I'm not getting flooded. I think I'm good. It actually might be just like a truck or something. Okay. All right. So advanced post creation with Fluent Form, just real quick. Okay. I'm sure you need the pro version for this. How to use advanced post creation, enable. Oh. Where are we at here? Get out of this. Integrations. Advanced. Okay, so you have to upgrade to pro, but I'll tell you high level how you do this. Okay, high level, because it's all the same, is maybe try this. Okay, I don't know if we're using ACF or what it is, but I'm sure somebody else too obviously has used Fluent Form. But I'll give you my shtick here real quick. You create like a post form just like this. This is what you want. You create a post form. It probably wouldn't be post. It would probably be testimonial. You would have testimonial in there. I'm hoping to God that you can put it in anything other than a testimonial, other than a post. It's looking like maybe you can. Yes. New post to say post type. Hopefully you can change that post type right there. I know this is a little small. Hopefully you could do that. Okay. Then all you're doing is you're mapping the form fields to the post fields. That's all you're doing. And then make sure that your post status, I would say right here, is set to either pending or draft so that you don't get people uploading text directly to your website. Okay. Like they're uploading it to your website, but it's not getting published. So make sure it's like that. I would also say that when, when another submission action or whatever they call in Fluent Forms should be like that's happening, obviously in the background, like that information is going in. They should probably get like an email or whatever. You need to get notified though, because you need your email is going to say, hey, somebody submitted a testimonial, go in and log in and confirm it, like publish it. So that's that. And then on the front end, I mean, it's literally everything we were doing earlier, where you have a page that's testimonials or whatever, and then you just have a grid or, a loop of those, and it's all going in there. But this is the key to what you need. Real quick, I use WS Form. I'll just show you in 2 seconds. Bad example, but let's use one of these random ones just as an example here. Do I have WS Form? Yeah. So add new form in WS Form. Just showing this off. marksemansky.co/WS Form if you want WS Form. Post management. So there's a post management add-on. And then Mark Westgard, the developer of WS Form, like makes this super easy. Maybe Fluent has a similar thing. But like these are already, because we have project, service, events, and places already they're already created, right? They're already, the things are already created. We don't even need to create the form. Like the form is already kind of built here. So for instance, events, let's say in this case, I know it's not testimonials, but in this case, we click use template on events and this form is going to be created and it already has these fields that I created in my custom post type, like my field group, my meta fields and everything like that already created. So my form is done in like a second. And then they're already even like on the, let's see here. This is the thing you're looking for. It's not going to look the same for you, obviously, but post management here, you need to map the field in the form to the field. You can't see this behind my head. You need to map the field to the form to the field in like ACF or Jet Engine. And then you just, when they submit it, then it just goes in. Highly recommend. Do not let them publish directly on your website, though. That is a recipe for disaster. Make sure that's set to pending. Hopefully that made somewhat of sense. Okay, thank you. I was trying on bricks mode and got stuck. Nice, sweet. Happy that worked for you, Leanne. Thank you. If I make, wow, we're getting some great questions today, guys. This is sick. If I make a website for barbers and make different page with talking about myself with my name and pictures, etc., that would work too, right? If I make a website for barbers and make a different page with my talking about myself and with my name and pictures, that would work too, right? I know this was a long time ago. I apologize. It was like 10 minutes ago. I might need more information on that. Yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit more context on that, Bertu. But I think it sounds like up the right alley. I like the idea of using your name. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm trying to see contextually what that was. Okay. I like the idea of using your name as your branding, but I feel like your last name is a bit hard to remember and especially write correctly. Maybe using something shorter could help. Yeah, but I just never liked that. You're totally right. I just never liked that. Actually, funny story, if some of you remember, I was Mark Joseph Szymanski for a time. That was fucking dumb idea. I mean, that was just ridiculously long and unnecessary. And I never called myself Mark Joseph like Szymanski. So yeah, totally agree with that. But I don't know. I just feel like at the end of the day, like we only have one name, and I know some people have like shortened their stuff, but I just never, just wasn't something I wanted to do. But you are completely correct. I'd love to see more of the series. It's been a great help for my own skill set and taught me things I didn't know. Nice, sweet. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, if there's anything specific, like I said, comments, hit me up. I think I have some things in the idea. The other thing too is like so many of the things I talk about could be used there. So it's like it's kind of like a mixture of like, do I put them directly in that playlist or do I somehow like just associate them with other things? So yeah, yeah, go integrations. Yeah, I need the pro version. Gotcha. Hey Joe, what's up? What's up? I would say no on that barber site question. Yeah, I don't. I was a little confused on that. I'm not sure. Nobody spells my name correctly. They always say an S instead of a Z. I have no problem with it. Yeah, yeah, I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. Okay, guys. It's been 3 hours. I mean, I'm down to do more if we have more questions or anything like that. I cannot tell you guys how much I appreciate all the crazy gifts and everything like that. It's been sick. I'm excited for 2025. We're starting off hot here. Did we accomplish what we set out to do? I mean, obviously we didn't build a whole ass portfolio website, but hopefully you guys got some value out of it. Hopefully Derek is well on his way with the new, just changes and everything like that we were doing there. To go back to it, we talked about this earlier. If some of you guys weren't here, if there's anything specific that you see, I'll just throw this up on the screen again. We didn't get to most of this, but we did cover a lot of concepts that you could have used for a lot of these different things. And I can make more specific videos on individual portions and pieces, but I'm really bullish on this. Also, if I build either a new website for my web agency or like an automation based one or whatever, I'll obviously document that process. And I do want to do this thing for my my high school reunion class thing that we're doing, like 10 years. I want to create like something with SureDash to like, because not everybody has Facebook, so I thought that would just be like a cool thing. Probably nobody would use it at all, but I think it'd be a really cool thing to just kind of like build and document and do all that. So maybe we will build something cool with SureDash either live or in some video series. I know it's like kind of like right on the cusp of, I think it already is in production, or it's just like they're just, obviously it's new, so they're doing a lot of things there. But yeah, I don't know, just a lot of different ideas. The question is about the question is about getting my name higher. Let's go here. The question is about to get my name higher on Google searches, so that I put different type of pictures and information on different barbershop sites I made, and get the result your own panel when you search your name. Yeah, I made this video. I mean, the answer to that is, I guess maybe. Like I made this video here. I'll go high level on it right now. But if I go pause this, let's go to a different thing. Let's have fun with this. Look at this. Look at my face now. I'm up in the corner. Sick. I made this video right here, which I will drop in the chat if you want to check this out. This is my Google Knowledge Panel video or whatever. And throughout this video, I kind of just explain that I explained a couple of different things that I did. And I am not an expert in this, okay? As always. I put like information about myself. I added a little bit more to my about page since I did this. You need it. It's very simple. If you wanted another human to know who you were and what you were about, you would need to tell them who you are and what you're about in like words or text or whatever. So you just need to do that to Google. And you need to do it like pretty like matter of factly and in multiple places, because it's not just going to like take one website into account. So I have a ton of social media. I post a ton of content on all the social media, and I have a website that is my own domain with my own name. It's matches my other stuff and everything. So I would highly recommend that you maybe take a look at this video and also look up other people's knowledge panel videos, because they're even better and more in depth in certain ways than mine on like what specifically you can do. There's like all sorts of shit like backlinks and everything like that. These are screenshots from like what mine used to look like. I mean, if this is a goal of yours, there's literally a objective way to kind of go about it. Like I said, I kind of brute force mine a little bit more because I just like post a ton of shit. But I don't really know an alternative. Like you have to let Google know that you are a person that has value, of influence, and is doing that. It's not just like this isn't unfortunately like a profile or anything that you can sign up for. If I know we're talking about barbershop. And I say that in here, if you don't, is there an example here that I gave in this video? If you're not a person, right? Like if you don't want a person name in there, you want like a brand name, then you should definitely look into Google My Business or Google Business Profile. I think it is now. So Google Business Profile. So like that has like an address and a little thing on the sidebar that you have way more control over, because it's attached to an address on the map on Google Maps. So that would just be my other little thing there. But yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things there. I don't know if that was helpful. Plugin is needed, so you just download a package with JSON files and can look at their site and put the ones on your site. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but yeah, is that related to this? I'm not exactly sure. This guy comes back from vacation. Did you get a haircut over Christmas break? No, I don't know. I don't know when my last haircut was, bro. I've been working. What have you been doing? Just kidding. I love you, dog. You missed all the fun, though. I know you probably just got here. You missed all the fun. The FAQs would be amazing to dive into. I'm about to look into it myself. Very inspired by Kevin Geary's approach. But I think he only teased and explained it. Are we saying like FAQs like this? I'm putting my face back up at the top. Oh, no, just kidding. It's at the bottom now, and it's a rectangle. And now it's a circle. If we're talking about the FAQs, like relationship with taxonomy, I mean, I could talk about that for sure real quick. Okay. Real quick. Barbershop's website, so broad, you're better off with local SEO. I'm not sure if we're talking about barbershops or specifically personal. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. If we're talking specifically about like again a person, that's what that's what I would say. Your name plugin is needed. Yeah, I'm confused about the plugin part, but other than that, yeah, let me know. Okay, let me go in here. Let me see. Deactivate jet engine for now. Let's talk about the FAQs real quick. Then maybe we'll get out of here. All right. So how would I do the FAQs? In my mind, it's not a crazy approach. I just think that in like every website that I've ever like had, I think is like really cool to have some FAQs. So with an FAQ, the likelihood of you having, this is a good different example, the likelihood of you having a slash FAQs archive, I'd say relatively low. So I think as David Doss was saying earlier, and we could use the editor for something like this, but nah. Also, you probably might not want to actually use the editor, but it just opens up too many things that you could like just throw in. So it's always a lot of times it just seems better to turn it off, unless it's a blog post. So like a Q, like an I question, help. There we go. So something like this. There's one spot that I want to get rid of here. I don't think I would ever have an archive. Here's the other thing is like the other thing is like, do you want an archive or do you want a single on this? And really you don't want like either, but you do want them to be able to like be queried. So there's like a couple different things that you can kind of do there, but you definitely probably don't want an FAQs archive. Like maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I'm gonna assume you don't. All right, so you have FAQs, and then you go field groups, and then you go to FAQs, FAQ fields, whatever. And then really you pretty much only have one, in my opinion. I mean, you just have like an answer for the most part, I guess. Like, why would you, I don't know if you want to have anything else. I might go WYSIWYG here. You might have a video. I could definitely see like a video, maybe not for an FAQ. You want WYSIWYG almost certainly because some FAQs might have links in them. Would you have a video? Probably not for an FAQ. Maybe more for like something else, like a documentation or something like that. But ultimately, you come in here. You come to FAQs. You go, how do I cancel my membership? Question. Answer. You don't. So you'd have one. Let's do one more. How can I pay? What payment methods do you accept? Cash. There we go. Okay, so something like that. So you have two FAQs there. Now, the way that I would handle this is one of two ways. I know Kevin talked about that centralized taxonomy situation thing, and I don't know if this is exactly the same. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced this is exactly the same thing. I just have a bunch of FAQs, and let's think about this. Take a step back for a second. You're going to have FAQs at minimum, let's say on every service page. Do we want to manually deal with those? Do we want to manually like have those in there and like just hard statically coded in there or whatever, statically written in there and like manage those? Absolutely not. Let's throw that out the window. But how are we going to say where we want them without like literally cherry picking them out? That would be, a step in the right direction, but definitely not where we want to. We have to either relate them via a relation, or we have to categorize them via taxonomy. Now, here's the problem with this. I don't like the idea of creating a taxonomy for FAQs that would be like web design, web management, and SEO. Let's just try to keep it simple, right? I don't like that because then when we go into the services, if we're going to use these taxonomies on the services, like the actual pages, then like, yeah, we could do that. And it really depends on like, you'd want to plan this out. You could do that. That's an approach. Option one is we come in and we say taxonomies, and we say a new taxonomy, and we say FAQ category or whatever the hell you want to call it, or categories, and then FAQ category, and then that's fine, whatever, it doesn't matter, hierarchical, cool, and then down here for FAQ, and you say save, and then you come back over to your FAQ, and now you have this category thing over here, which we don't have any categories in yet, but we would say like web design, we would say SEO, and these would be like These would be like areas or like like again categories, like places where you think these FAQs would go. This is one approach. I'm not saying it's the best. And then like web care plan, whatever, something like that. All right. So now you ideally, the cool part about this approach is that again, you can select all of them. Like maybe, like obviously, like what payment methods you expected. You might want to put that on all the pages, maybe. I don't know, right? Potentially. But you might only want to put it on certain ones. And that would kind of be the idea, right? You don't necessarily, not every FAQ is going to be applicable to everything. That's option one. What you would do here is you would go to those archives when you're building those archives out, and you would say, you would query FAQs based off of the current terms. Like you're querying. Let me think about this. You're querying FAQs, and they are like, what is it? It's a terms query. It's kind of like what we just did. It's like the term that is associated with this post type. So we'd have to experiment with how to do that. The other way to do this, specifically in what's it called here in ACF, is if we go back to field groups and we go to FAQ fields. We could also do this even more, a couple different ways, but I would almost like never. I would almost never. I'm trying to think of all the different ways that you could handle this. You could do it with relationship, like a relationship field. In my mind, I always want it to be bi-directional. The trouble with this approach, though, is that you're relating like a service or another post type to your FAQ. So at some point, you're going to be like kind of fucked because you're going to like want to put your FAQs like on a home page, and you're going to be like, how am I going to query the appropriate FAQs for a home page? It's going to have to be like, like all of the services, or like if it's related to any of the services or something like that. I know I'm like just talking here and not really showing too much, but honestly, the more that I think about it, there's an option for the relationship, and I've done that before, where all you're doing is relating like FAQs to services, so to speak, right? And then there's a field in both, and they if you do bidirectionally, they always stay together. Or stay synced up. That's an approach. But you have to ask yourself, before you make a decision on this, you have to ask yourself, where am I going to put FAQs on this website? I am definitely going to put them on the services pages, but I'm probably going to put them elsewhere. And if I'm going to put them elsewhere, then it probably makes sense to just do a taxonomy approach. And if you're going to do a taxonomy approach, then I would probably just go like this or something. And I would just have like maybe however many taxonomies it is. And I still don't love it, but it would be more like not directly to a specific service. You could do it directly to a specific service too. You could do that, be a taxonomy like this, or you could do it with the relationships. But how this would end up working is that you would just query the things on the front end with wherever you're actually looking for them. On the services pages, it would make more sense to do it with a relationship to a degree. Let me see. These are all really fun projects. They're just really hard to do with no specific goal, because we are literally in an industry where you could do 16,000 things and arrive at like a situation that is passable. Okay, so we're in services. So if I was gonna like create boom and then like block, maybe we should just stream the rest of the day. Just kidding, not doing that. Okay, so this heading, cool, whatever. Actually, yeah, it doesn't matter. Heading, and then text. Where's my text? Rich text. Cool, block. This is our testimonial card thing, whatever. Testimonial, boom, or not our testimonial, our FAQ. So cool. Back in here. Get rid of that. Post title. Down here. Answer. The daily double. Right there. Done. Cool. So now we're querying all of our FAQs. Right. So this is where it gets interesting. So Very simply, if you were creating this on the homepage, for instance, or something, then you could just say, okay, well, I only want to show general ones. And then we only have one general one, right? That's one way to do it. That's a little hard coded, so to speak, though, right? Like I literally had to come in here. There's nothing dynamically changing. I'm just clicking general, anything that's general. That's an approach. I would recommend that maybe for certain instances where you want to show, again, like general FAQs or whatever. The issue is like if this was a services page, if this was, if see, it even gets more complicated here because if you're creating unique services archives or unique service singles, then you don't need to do as much dynamic stuff because you're already like sacrificing a little bit of that dynamicness to it. But let's assume that we were creating a services single here and we wanted this to be extremely dynamic. Let me just do it. Let me say, let's just do it like this. I'll try to show you everything. Related services, I guess. I mean, you could do even pages if you really wanted to. I don't know. I mean, you could do, but in my mind, like you probably want services. So here's another way to do it. Okay. All you want to do is you want to create, you know that you're only going to show FAQs on service pages and you want it to be as dynamic and as future proof as possible. So we're going to relate the FAQs to the services with a bidirectional relationship. So we're going to FAQ, we're going to go in our FAQ thing. We have a related services FAQ, like, so you'd be putting in the FAQ and then you click the related services. We're going to filter the post type by services because in our thing, I have a whole full video on this as well, actually, but the bidirectional thing, which is extremely under publicized, this situation, and I hate the way that they did this. But bidirectional, you have to turn this on, and then there's going to be another field that we have to go set up because it's not jet engine. So yeah, so we go back over to our field groups, we go to service fields, we go to add a new field, we say, I'm going to link the video in the chat here because I'm going too fast for this. Related FAQs, okay. Come down here, we only want to see FAQs in this. We could do the other shit, but it's not necessary. And then we come up here to advanced, we say bidirectional, we come down here, it's going to find the related services. What that does is that syncs the related FAQs field in the services and the related services field in the FAQs. So they're always in sync. Like so you can bidirectionally relate shit. Real quick, let me find that video for you. I need a quicker link to get to my page here. Where's it at? Where's it at? Right here. Copy link address. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. All right, let's finish this up. Okay, so now we have those linked up, but we don't have any actual, where are we at? FAQs. How do I cancel my membership? All right, so now down here, we have logos, printer setup, from our other shit that we had there, right? So printer setup, how do I cancel my printer setup? How do I cancel my thing? It's pretty funny. Or how do we, or UX. So let's say that this FAQ is related to these two things. So we're going to update that. And then let's go back to our FAQs for a second, go to payment methods, scroll down. Let's say wireframing. Cool. So now we have some data. We have bidirectional relationships. It's all working properly. Also, by the way, just to like show you, I didn't do anything in the services custom post types. But if we go to them now, wait a second. Hang on. I might have not saved something because that should have been there. Hang on one. Pause for station identification. FAQ fields, services fields, related services, advanced. Yep, got to go back. See, this is why this is so fucking annoying. Okay, you got to go back and you got to make sure that you go put this damn field that you did not have set up yet in this thing so you make sure that you're synced up, right? Because over here, you want the opposite one in there. And honestly, I think what that's going to do now is that's going to mess up the stuff that I just put that in there for, the FAQ stuff that I just put that in there for. I'm pretty sure I have to re-put that in because of the way that it saves it. Like you have to like delete it and you have to put it back in. You can't even just resave it, I don't think. I think I just tried that. Okay, that was weird as fuck. Why did it do that? I don't know. Pretty sure it's working now though. Let's go wireframing. Show me something. God damn it. What the hell is going on here? I'm just clicking. Get rid of this. Update it. Okay, great. Put it back in. Come back over here. Refresh. There we go. Okay, that's the expected result, even though it took an hour to figure that out. All right. All right, so let's go back to right here. Get rid of, save, printer setup, UX, save. I'm just going to assume that that's good. Okay, what we have now is we have bidirectionally related FAQs and services. They're all set up. You would only have to do that like one time. You come into here, and now this is where the query would have to change. This would be a single for a service. So it's a template that gets like automatically generated. So I can explain this to you. Let me throw a, no, didn't mean to do that. Let me throw a heading just right up above this block. Doesn't matter at all. Let me put post title. That's good. Yeah. So this is going to be our single. Like this is going to say like UX design or whatever the hell else ones like prints and shit like that. And then this block down here, okay, these cards are going to be whatever the hell we want them to be, specifically the ones that are related. So let's go, and we didn't have any relations before, and now we do. So now we have to reload this. Because the way Bricks handles relationship loops is kind of wacky. There we go. All right. So ACF, relationships, related services or related FAQs? That's a good question because Jet Engine is normally different, but they just added more shit to this. So do we want related services? We want a query based off of the related services. No, we want to query off of this, I think. Holy shit. Is that literally one click that quick? Damn. Let's go here. Let's go wireframing prints. Actually, just like this. So, oh wait, I didn't set this single up. Hang on. Pause. Got to remember to do this. Post type, boom, and services. Okie doke. Should work. There we go. There you go. I'm exhausted. Holy fuck. I don't know if any of that made sense. I know I did it real fast, but if you combine the video that I did about the ACF bidirectional relationships and then just like literally clicking one button of the on the query, that's what you get. Now I know it doesn't look like much, but the idea is that these are dynamically created service singles, and these are looped FAQs. Obviously, there's only one, but these are looped FAQs that are directly related, bidirectionally related to the individual services. So if this is something that would work for you, then you can just do it like this. Like you just have the data, you have that stuff bidirectionally related in the CMS. You come into Bricks and you say, just to recap on this side, because I went fast, this is just a heading, right? Post title. Then I have a block, which is technically the FAQ card, we'll say, whatever. Okay. And then there's a heading in there, which is the post title, which is going to be an FAQ title. And then there's our answer, right? Which is just pulled in from the answer dynamic data from the FAQ. And then, so if we go back to our card here, all we're doing is literally, because they're related, it gives me options for relationship now in Bricks. And because I want to query the related FAQs, because I'm on a service single, I want to query the related FAQs, and that's what you get. So all it's doing is it's looking inside the wireframing single, like the wireframing post, the wireframing service post, and it's saying, let's go to the related FAQ field and what is in there. And that's this. Now, again, I don't know if this is going to work in every instance, because in certain cases, if you don't want these, honestly, a hybrid approach is probably the best. Like, you probably would want you, or you could relate it to pages like I was saying earlier, but that's kind of like weird and clunky. I feel like you probably want maybe like this, because it'll always be related to the specific service. And then you could also have a taxonomy that could override, or you could utilize in different ways, like on the homepage or some shit, or like just generalized FAQs, something like that. That would be my thought process. That was a lot. We got any comments here? LMAO, yep. I'm using jet engine and I agree with you. It should be bidirectional by default. Yeah. Yep. How do you not have to pee? Are you hungry? Yeah, I'm about to pop off here. This has been fantastic though. How does Bricks and ACF compare to using custom fields in Gutenberg? I need to check that theme and plugin out myself, but curious on what your high level opinion is when comparing the two stacks. I mean, when you say custom fields in Gutenberg, are you talking about like the ones from way back, the ones that are like still in there or whatever, or are you talking about like a generate press situation or something? But also, I'm kind of confused on. I've done some streams on like trying to navigate Gutenberg and the block editor, but I've never created custom post types and custom fields like manually. I know you can. That's what these tools are doing, but I've never specifically done that. Just not something that I was. When I found ACF, I was like, oh shit, this is amazing. And then I found Jet Engine. I was like, this is dope. So not exactly sure. Jamie, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. How do they compare? I mean, well, actually, let me go back to this again for a second. How does Bricks and ACF compare to using custom fields in Gutenberg? Or are you talking about using ACF in Gutenberg? If you're talking about using ACF in Gutenberg, like just like that for the dynamic data, custom fields, and post types and all that, I didn't talk about options pages. God damn it. Maybe next time. Everybody should be using an options page for all their business details and all like the one-off like global variable stuff, like a phone number, logo, social links, anything like that. Maybe like a banner on the top of a website. Use an options page. Do that. It was a game changer for me. We'll talk about that some other time. But I don't know. I mean, I've used a little bit of dynamic data. I think the dynamic data is kind of limited, from what I understand, in like core Gutenberg, core WordPress. I don't think you can reference all the things, do all the things. I think I'm fair to say Bricks is much more versatile when it comes to like querying data and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so. But I don't know. I mean, you saw kind of what Bricks does and what it's capable of. I mean, it's just, even when you don't know how to do something, it's like 2 clicks away. It seems like it's just kind of crazy. So I don't know. It's working for me right now. That's all I can say. Excited for components. Want to share more of that with you guys. I think there could be some cool things. A lot of the stuff we did today should have probably been componentized, but we're not going crazy on it. So yeah, guys, this has been fantastic. I appreciate every single one of you. Derek, thank you for getting the party started with the project there. Thank you guys for all you guys that gifted subs and all that sort of stuff. I literally have to go back and understand how to understand the mechanics of that, because I didn't even know you could gift on YouTube. So I appreciate you guys tremendously. Hopefully you learned something here. Hopefully it was at least somewhat moderately edutainment-y. But yeah, let me know what else you want to see. Obviously, every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern right here. Mark your calendar. We will continue to do these. Yeah, I mean, again, you saw today, like, if you have questions or anything like that, reach out to me. Like, Obviously, like I have the private consulting, but like these types of things, like this type of content, this benefits everyone. Also thinking about something interesting with the private consulting type thing that I will announce, because I think there's some cool concepts that we can get there that actually like benefit everyone and are like cooler. So just always thinking about some things. I have a lot of like not necessarily side projects, but other things that I'm getting involved with in 2025 because I've realized that I need to collaborate way more with people. I don't want to overextend myself, but I am tired of just sitting staring at my computer in this room heavily. So I'm going to be traveling more. I'm going to be just hopefully collaborating more with people. So you see, not just on live streams, but like in like either products or services, courses, things like that. I'm super excited. I think there's a lot of opportunity in 2025, and I cannot thank you guys enough for being a part of this. Again, if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, anything like that, hit me up. More things to come. But yeah, appreciate you, Steve. Thank you so much. When will components be released? I know it's in beta, but when will be fully released? Honestly, I don't know. I'm not on the team at Bricks. I just utilize it. If history is any indication, I would guess because we have access to it now that it would probably be no more than a month or so out. I mean, I've used it. Me and Brendan did a stream about it. Kevin did a stream about it. WP Toots, I think, did a video about it. Like, I mean, everybody's picking up on it, right? Obviously, everyone's doing it. I think it should be pretty soon. It seemed like it worked. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, it's not where it needs to be for heavy usage of different things, but I feel like the minimum viable product was pretty reasonably completed. So I would hope in the next like month at the latest, I guess. I don't know. But I'm excited for him. Going to open up a lot of possibilities, and honestly, not even just possibilities, but like just better ways of building shit, which is what I enjoy. So yeah, but that's all I got, guys. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. We will talk to you very, very soon.